Hello? Hello. Hello, yes. Could be exciting today. Who's got the Hopium? Hello. Oh gosh, my preview is looping my own volume. Hello, yes. Help! Past me is talking to future me. There we go. No longer looping audio. Excellent. No elp? No elp, no elp. All right. Also, this song is an absolute banger, by the way. Shout out to Pop Sky. Oh my. We're gonna background music that whole thing. All right. So we're getting started right into it. I have this, I had a whole bunch of just tabs prepared, but then this morning, let me double check. This morning at 5:03 a.m., which was only 2 a.m. for her, Kitty, longtime community member and recent mom cat mom, I don't know, they had a kid. She gave me this huge Google document. I'll have it up on screen in a moment. It's got 77 lines. Well, 75 because it's got titles. It's got just all this stuff in it. Just an absolute wild mess. I mean, a lot of it is crap, and apparently like it's probably some huge collaboration with Redditors to check and fact check all this stuff, but it is wild. Actually, let me give it a refresher because I haven't refreshed it yet today. Because there was one other leak that came out that I also have. Let me see. Where's that other leak? I've also got let me save this bingo card here. Oh no, I can't. Yeah, let me save it. I'm gonna open it in Photoshop and we'll do live bingo. Let me see. Let's put this in the World of Warcraft section. This is the bingo card that looks like Towley's community created. Where's my World of Warcraft stuff? Perfect. Let's put this. So it's Towley, Dragonflight, WoW, bingo. If you need it, it was posted in Discord. Let me see if I can repost it for y'all and put it in Discord for you if you want to play along. Granted, it's the same bingo card, so technically if you get bingo, we all get bingo. But I'll... Did he put it in memes? Okay, Destara put it in memes. So I'm just going to hit a reply on that. Here is the bingo card, friendos. Just click on the attachment that I replied to, and you can have the bingo card too. And we can do the thing. Yeah, elp? No elp. I had just audio issues. There was a Windows update yesterday. So hopefully all the audio stuff is has been worked out. But yeah, I have this huge Google document. So let's just start going through things. Pikachu is hiding somewhat behind the microphone because he only has half Hopium for the expansion today. But yeah, let's look through this thing and then we'll go through sort of my thoughts. I didn't really write any notes down for my thoughts about what I hope the next WoW expansion has because I've been saying it for years already. But let's go over here. But this thing is massive. Look at this, Matt. Look at this. So it has the link's name on the left, an acronym to tie what the leak's expansions are, and they're all pretty all over the place. There is a credibility score between 0 to 5, so all the red right here is all mostly garbage. There's a couple of ones that look more credible than others. Then there's a mirror link, when it was posted, how long ago it was posted from today, the 19th, where it was posted. So of course, there's a lot on MMO Champion where all the good leaks come from. It's so much. There's some 4chan in here though, but it's really just MMO champion. My God. If there are talking about new races to see if there's a common theme, and it's dragon race, draconoids, genderless dragon race, the Drakthir again, dragon hybrid, dragonborn, dragon race that starts as a whelp, dragonkin, black dragon, Dark Ranger. That's the only one that says Dark Ranger. It's about new class, level cap, raising or not, world revamp, player housing, and core themes of an expansion. Dragons, magic titans, dragons, 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 night elves. The official stream starts in just about 50 minutes. We're live about an hour early to talk about leaks and speculation and see what sticks. One of these leaks was from 243 days ago. Hello? What the heck? But the reason why the Dragonflight leak came to be recently was this back end, the certification title leak that came up. So this was in code on the website. So when they were updating stuff on the website, which obviously we're going to get the Wrath of the Lich King stuff, that's the easy shout today. Yeah, laugh so hard if it's not dragons. It could be. The thing about leaks is weird. So I guess we're sidestepping over here real quick. This is the very, I guess, famous or infamous picture that was leaked not too long ago, right? This was that, like, looks like someone's cubicle. It's like key art. There's some sleuthing that was done to this, that apparently there's no yellow channel in the metadata, but then there's yellow in the images. Sure, I guess, but this looks like someone, you know, slyly took a screenshot at someone's desk. Sure. And this is where the whole World of Warcraft Dragonflight came from. It could just be one of the most convincing leaks where a lot of the Dragonflight stuff came from. But then, of course, the actual code that Blizzard put on their website had dragonflight.blizzard.com, dragonflight.blizzard.com, all these different certifications right here that came through that, of course, are bouncing to the Amazon server, you know, clouds that they're using to run their websites. There was tons of it. And the easiest thing that are being announced today is definitely going to be the WoW Classic Wrath of the Lich King. That's going to happen. But this is where this all came from. This is at the end of last month. I think it was the first time this popped up. Because it was Diablo 2 stuff, Diablo Immortal stuff, right? But then March 29th, boom, this all came, like, it wasn't here. But then this is where all the Dragonflight leak stuff came from. So that's like the most quote unquote credible one. That's these two right here. The Hello MMO Champion. Oh, these are the Wrath ones. Never mind. Where was the one? I have the scale face leaks up here, which is also one that's kind of credible. Oh yeah, the screenshot 3.5. So it's which is these. There was one other maybe. Is this the same one? Oh, yeah. This apparently is a leaked image in game of the new race. I don't know. The only convincing part of this to me, because you can make tons of 3D models in Blender and stuff nowadays, is that it looks like it's a reskinned Worgen. Which, hey, ready for your brand new race that's a dragon, but it's just a Worgen with wings? I mean, that would be smart from a game design standpoint, but also it's just a Worgen. But the screenshot in the background could be real. This looks like World of Warcraft Fire, right? World of Warcraft zebra shading and like the trees and stuff. But there's also another one that came up. It was Dragon Race customizable. This is just like an elf model or something, right? With like some scales painted on it. So it's just literally just an elf, but It reminds me of that race from Terra. Anyone play Terra in the chat? That was that scantily clad warrior race, but it was just like elven humanoids. So could be. And there was another one. This is a 0 on the believability meter. This popped up. Again, the background texture work and stuff looks World of Warcraft-y, but this character model, which looks totally unique, although it's maybe a little bit reskinned succubus, again, work smart, not hard. You want to make something that actually can bind to all your armor and stuff. This looks like it's from a different game. This looks like better graphics than World of Warcraft, even with the new character models. And this is a 0 on the credibility scale. I'm not going to dive into the huge threads and posts that go with these things because it could be just a complete shit show. But I don't know, the hair looks cool. Looks kind of like Echo's hair from Overwatch, which again, you can pull 3D model assets from all these programs and make them. This one was apparently flagged as debunked as well. So, not real. There was a -1. There's so many on here. So anyway, there's scale face. These leaks are from a account on MMO Champion. Scale face, the Mechanome. Been on MMO Champion for a long time. Lots of posts. But these leaks are being taken semi-seriously because something way back in the day before Legion announcements, he quoted a few details of Legion that were kind of correct. However, they were claimed as 100% legit, but they weren't all correct. There was something on here. Gul'dan is in a cave and he's looking into the big crystal mirror where he's watching Illidan training his soldiers. That never happened. But there was Illidan and there was Demon Hunter. So it's not enough. But this one, Scaleface goes on to say that they were claims from a PR agency where the information came from. Brand new leaks incoming. This is on the 12th of April. So there's too many details, so many things. Claims there's one new race and one new class coming in 10.0 in the next expansion, which is what we're going to find out today in less than an hour. So it's fun to speculate and see who's slinging the right shit, I guess. So this is the weird one to me. It's being claimed to release November 2022. Now, if you paid attention to this recent update, let me see if I can find the post. Unless someone has it already. Let's see. Shadowlands Season 4. Where's is there official post here? Coming later this year, Shadowlands Season 4. Yeah, let me pull this over. So this was announced by Kyvax 28 days ago now that there's going to be a huge additional season of World of Warcraft where they're changing up the Mythic Plus dungeon pool, which I actually think this sounds kind of fun. It's Shadowlands Mega Dungeon, split into 2, of course, as it is. Then last expansion's Mega Dungeon, and then Legion's Mega Dungeon, and then 2 Warlords of Draenor dungeons, which I believe the vote's already in. Is it Grimrail and something else? So that's going to be the new Mythic Plus season. There'll be new PvP gear. And there's also going to be this progenitor-themed affix. And they're also going to be they're going to bring up the scaling on Nathria, Sanctum, and Sepulchre so that you can do all the raids. There'll be increased difficulty and more powerful levels of raid loot dropping throughout all of them. So this is one of those, it's an interesting idea, but it seems like a very big holdover patch where this is going to last for a while. And I can't, when would the next season start? It's already April. So it starts in the summer, like June, July. And then based on this leak, the next expansion comes out in November. So this season would only last like 4 months. Maybe 5 at the longest. How long do most seasons last? It's like half a year, isn't it? Like 6 months. sometimes longer, depending on what expansion you're in. But an end of expansion seasonal update, which this is still has cool parts of it, although I don't know how many people want to just re-raid, you know, Mythic Plus raids or, you know, raid pluses. It'll definitely interest some people. I'm interested in doing the Mythic Plus stuff. That sounds pretty fun. Small group stuff, going back through all these dungeons with all the crazy power gains right now in Shadowlands. That'd be kind of fun. But this, to me, when this popped up last month, felt very much that this is a holdover for a year. This is a holdover until like next spring. Because I don't think they put all this work into bringing up the raids, making another affix, updating 2 dungeons, as well as last expansion's Karazhan, or 2 expansions ago, and Mechagon to work in Shadowlands properly. Unless they're just going to use like the time walking scaling and just going like, just turn the numbers up. All this work for like a 4 or 5 month period, and then new expansion drops. So that's where part of this scale face leak is a little weird. A little weird. Not sure about that one. But yeah, like Dave is saying, spring 2023 for the expansion with Wrath of the Lich King, November, December. Yeah. That seems a little bit more realistic, especially releasing Wrath in the winter is thematic. Did Wrath originally launch in the winter? When did it originally launch? Wrath of the Lich King. Originally launched, yeah, November 13th, 2008. So launching Wrath Classic, almost like a mirrored launch, albeit 14 years later. Do you feel old yet? 14 years later seems way more realistic for sure. Have that Christmas time Wrath launch, which apparently was the height of the gaming experience for World of Warcraft. And then, yeah, and then let this season thing, the season 4 play out for who knows how long, really. And then you drop the next expansion in spring. Because you got to remember too, this next expansion needs holdover time. This is beta testing time, right? Because World of Warcraft does all their beta testing through their community, which is good and bad. Not all of it. A lot of it, though. A lot of it gets done through the community. I did it for 6 years. So we shall see. But it needs, normally an expansion needs 6 months of beta testing. Unless they've got some like huge new influx of QA. I know they're bringing on and hiring in full time, not as contract workers, all of the QA across Activision Blizzard except the Raven Call of Duty QA team, because they are trying to spearhead the unionization. But we shall see. More of the scale phase leaks come through. April 12th claims the new class has the name similar to a mage ability, but they later confirmed to be referred to as the Invoker or the Evoker. Evoker, which is what this potential like picture is. This whole screenshot right here, the Dragonrider screenshot. You know, if this is a Worgen again, or the other one, which is, you know, obviously debunked. So Evoker is apparently the new class. Yeah, especially remember all that mounted combat, and there was mounted combat in Wrath of the Lich King. It was that one daily, right? And the tournament grounds. There was technically mounted combat. But if you go back to your box art, if you have a Wrath of the Lich King box and unfold that cardboard flap, you'll see there was way more said, right? There was quite a bit more said. I have another leak that was over here. I'll pull it up in a moment once we go through Scale Faces stuff. And again, we're just going through leaks and things just for a little bit before the actual stream doesn't start for another 40 minutes. But it's fun to get like where the community is. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is like this huge document that's being followed and put together to see like what's real or not. So obviously, again, Scaleface WoW Classic for Wrath of the Lich King is September, which anytime they want to release that whatever, that could happen. Where is even Burning Crusade Classic right now anyway? Like where is it in its lifespan? Is everything out in Classic Burning Crusade? It's in patch 1.4. Yeah. Yeah, the Evoker, again. Sunwell isn't even out yet. It's in Zulaman. So you've still got... Is it a whole other patch then for Burning Crusade? Yeah, so Burning Crusade needs enough time to put that last patch out before they have enough time to... So the November potential for Wrath of the Lich King seems more possible. September seems a little soon then. We'll see. Anyway, I'm just going over fun leak stuffs. Scaleface then posted this giant like word puzzle thing, confirming the thread speculation with a new neutral race and the Evoker class. While was correct whilst dropping this puzzle, the puzzle apparently was already figured out by these Giga Chads. This is another place where we got the Drakthir name of apparently the new race, the neutral dragon race. Yeah, GigaBrain's already discovered it by digging through the metadata in the image. So the other mentions, again, the Evoker is a restricted class. And this is where Marleman came in. Does a lot of data mining. Said that the Evoker name was restricted, which is similar to how other class names in TBC and Vanilla were also restricted. So you can go to this WoW Tools page if you remove all the spaces and stuff. So there's something there, but nothing super special, is the quote. So we'll see. And then the last thing that came up April 16th, when asked what the new races faces being Draconoid or Humanoid, they just said they're unique. Of course. Of course, they're just unique. Yeah. There's the code. So there's other weird ones in here. There's huge... I've looked through a few of these. Yeah, this is the poster leak and the title leak. This is the picture we had before. Yeah, this is the title stuff. Okay, I already have those opened. There's a lot of junk. There's a 2 score on this Light Judgment. From a banned account, of course. A banned account. Light Judgment, the actual leak. The Dragon Isles leaks are fake. Believe this or don't. The expansion is called Light's Judgment. New 60 to 70 continent is revamped Lordaeron. New class is Tinker, no new race. World traits are a new talent tree similar to the old style for open world and legacy content only. Current talent still exists. Big new feature called World Events can take place in some revamped EK and Kalimdor zones. So Eastern Kingdom's Kalimdor zones, so like public events. This one only has a 2 on the believability scale down here. So the other one that came up, this was just posted. This was like fresh, 17 hours ago. Where World of Warcraft, Dragonflight, new continent, Dragon Isles. More of the Dragon Isle stuff. So this one claims talent trees are back. There will be quick time event style casting, hold or time, which people down here were talking about new casting, wondering if they mean charged or channeled abilities. No idea. Neutral race, the Drakthir, which again, that's from the other leak with the race name. Has new race transformation. They're like Worgen, which again, that's that image that looks like a reskinned Worgen. Could be. So data to the Dragon Isles, new class, the Invoker now. Not Evoker, but Invoker. There's an N here. The other name was different. I get rid of this one. is a male class, which the game needs. There's only Shaman and Hunter that wear male armor, so having another male wearer would be good. But it's a healer, DPS. So healer, melee DPS, range DPS, I suppose. But it has lots of overlap with the arcane mage aesthetic. Healing spec, however, is fire, lots of breath abilities. Dragon form looks more human than dragon. And then the poster, Axaron, not going to leak anything else. It's hours away, FFS. So there's this one. I saw this last night when I was prepping for the stream, and then before I woke up this morning and had this giant Google document that Kitty, she's in chat, posted over. They might be like Final Fantasy 14, hit a button at the right time kind of stuff. It's possible. That's my biggest thing. So I've been taking a break from World of Warcraft now for, I think I'm going on 8 or 9 months. After the Sylvanas tier. So, primarily because of all the really crap Activision Blizzard stuff that started happening, and then let up people in the community didn't want to support Bobby Kotick and his cronies anymore. So I've been taking a break. So last May, I picked up Final Fantasy 14, and that's where a lot of the content and streams have been on YouTube here on the channel have been going. I've been playing a lot of 14. We are only like 3.5 phases or parts or mechanics away from beating the current Savage boss. So we're almost there. And I post the Savage videos, of course, here too, to archive them. But it's been a while. We've got a lot of IRL that has gotten in the way. Sickness here, work there, family stuff. But I wonder, that's my biggest curiosity point today, is what is going to be announced today, you know, in 30-ish minutes, if it is going to be a lot of classic and Burning Crusade inspired World of Warcraft adjustments, like the talent tree systems, or maybe they're gonna revamp loot for the 4th time, which I don't know if they need to revamp loot. It should just be, I want it to be simpler and more of it. Or depending on if they go the inspired by our classic games, WoW Classic, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, etc. Wrath of the Lich King with token currencies and things. Or if they have been pivoting internally now for the last 1.5, 2 years or more to update their overall game to make it more evergreen or approachable like Final Fantasy 14. Because if you're not familiar with how 14 works, is that essentially everything in the game is playable. Everything in the game, you can do like every dungeon in the game. It's almost like it's permanent time walking would be the equivalent in World of Warcraft, but not like a seasonal weekly event kind of thing. Is that you can queue up for any dungeon, and when you go into those old dungeons, unless you use what's called unrestricted or unsynced, you are essentially the max level for that dungeon allows. So you're playing it for the experience that it's balanced for. It's not exactly the same anymore because of changes over time. But World of Warcraft has so much stuff in the game, so many raids in the game, so many dungeons in the game, that you never ever do. And even with time walking, it still is only for a week. It's not even all the dungeons, right? It's all this stuff that just doesn't exist anymore. Not that you need to do it again. During the 2 years of each expansion's life cycle, you do run those raids and those dungeons, depending on how much you play the game, a whole lot. But that's what I'm curious. I wonder if they're going to move forward with WoW style, older WoW feel, or try to adjust their game to compete with 14. You know, I wonder what route they're going to navigate. Because the other thing that's coming up into some of these posts, which again, a lot of them are pretty low priority on the believability scale. Axaron, that guy that just posted, that I brought up the post was from the other day. The first post It's the same as these scale-faced leaks about the Drakthir and evokers again, not invokers. So there hasn't been a consistency between how that's supposed to be, which could just be the threads they're posting them in. But because it says invoker in the post, but then the person writing up this huge Google thread making the imager reposts are calling it the evoker instead of invoker right here. So images below are originally shared by Axeron on MMO Champion. And he went back and edited the original post to remove the links to the images. So these were like new talent tree things. These talent tree webs. So this just says druid points available and restoration points available. So who knows? Higher quality image. Earlier talent tree leak resurfaced a few hours ago. The source was just Discord, quote unquote. So again, this is these new supposed talent trees. And then here was this Drakthir race screenshot thing. Still could be reskinned Worgen due to the way the feet work. You'd obviously have a human form back here, potentially. But again, look how grainy the screenshot is. Like it's been reposted and reposted and reposted or something like that. Or it's just that they use low quality filters to smush all the pixels together so it looks like it blends to hide the fact that it's clearly fake. That could be a thing. And again, there's this one right here. It shows a breath, I guess, healing ability, which is from the other post. This looks a little bit like a mix between Worgen and the female Dreadlord wings from like Castle Nathria or something. So yeah, who knows? This the thing is, it's weird. If people were trying to leak information from expansions, and leak stuff gets people talking, and it gets content creators making videos about it and talking about it and tweeting about it and all this stuff, it drums up hype, right? Which is why it's tough. If these leaks have actual internal, NDA breaking issue, then obviously that's horrible for the developers involved and the artists involved that are getting their big moment stolen from them. What is this post from way back in the day? This thing is like a year ago. Almost 2 years ago. I think I read about this one before too. Oh, this is the one that talked about Final Fantasy XIV influences. Talked about legitimate housing is coming. A WoW take on new Eureka Bozja content. Eureka and Bozja, if you haven't played 14, these are end game zones where you farm end game, at the time, weapons. Now they're all cosmetic. Although certain ones, like the one from last expansion for 14 for Shadowbringers, I farmed 7 of them. You can still use those weapons because you can reallocate their stats for certain content where you get scaled down, where you get synced is the term. And if you have a weapon that has the maximum allowed amounts of certain stats, that will max them out when you get synced down for your weapon. So you have the most amount of stats for, crit or whatever. So they're not totally cosmetic. They are mostly cosmetic though. But yeah, I remember this post. Yeah, this came up with the lawsuit affecting entry-level development. And the lack of decisiveness within the community. There was a small civil war been escalating over which of these options we will take. Oh, how the whole elephant in the room with Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, this is that huge internal post, which could very well have it could have been someone from the inside posting and being quite upset with the current internal state of Activision Blizzard. Primarily, of course, the Blizzard side for World of Warcraft. This was before, I think, the new management and stuff took over and everything was shifted around, and Jalen Brack was sacrificed to the world. The fall guy, essentially. But yeah, this huge post. I can have the Google document linked Is there an easier way to link this? Did Kitty just link the whole thing? Yeah, she just linked the Google document itself. Because if you want to look through this yourselves, feel free, of course. That should work there for you. Because there's a lot of neat ideas and fun concepts and like, oh, that'd be cool. The one other thing that comes up a lot in these leaks is the level cap raised or not raised. If you notice, a lot of them are unknown. They didn't say anything about it. But Paragon levels came back up here again. Remember that? Talked about system. But there's been an interesting leak that I've read in quite a few of these about how level cap, of course, just naturally goes up 10 levels. But others are saying no. Like that the actual gameplay experience is just that there's story, but there's no level cap increase. You're just into the next phase of end game. Which would be, going back to my point earlier, if World of Warcraft was taking a more WoWified approach, that understanding their strengths, that the entire point people play World of Warcraft for isn't the leveling. There are some, not to take that away from them, there are some that like the leveling, but a lot of World of Warcraft is all end game. It's a gear grind. It's an action MMO. You're there for your weekly drip feed content, you know, your story stuff and your zones, but really you're logging in to run your raids, your Mythic Plus, to run your PvP, your farming gear. Right? This is not a story-driven game. At least nowhere near to the point, say, as Final Fantasy XIV. That game is all story, almost all the time. I've been playing since last May, and I still haven't finished it all yet. Now, excuse me, some of that story is side content and isn't real, but it is still story. A lot of it. A lot of reading, a lot of adjusting. But WoW isn't for story. So yeah, no level cap would be a bold choice. Would it though? I wonder. I wonder if that would help the game. Like you level in a different way. Because the leveling in World of Warcraft is just, does it really do a whole lot? It introduces you to the new zones and stuff, but it feels like there'd be a different way to level. Like, take for example this one. This one is a low score, but this is one of the ones that says no leveling, or that has a level cap. But the leveling is, there's no quests. So this one also claims no AP or renown system. Dragonflight campaign is what locks everything. Dragonflight traits. New endgame power. Or, as came up in Discord last night, aspect power. So AP. Yeah. Who's ready for AP to come back, you know? Who's ready for AP for the third time in a row? Oh my god. Artifact power, Azerite power, aspect power, aspect points. Yeah. Something like renown would be a great substitute for leveling. It just feels like such a weird system. They could have all those quests and pieces of content in zones and areas and not have this arbitrary level increase. Because what does it do for World of Warcraft? Right? And again, I'm going to keep comparing to Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy goes up by 10 levels. And I played through all of the game from like May until before Endwalker came out. And then Endwalker, it goes up by 10 levels. And that 10 levels in 14 is like 50-ish hours of single player RPG. With, you know, there's some dungeons and there's some trials. Those are with other people, but you can do them almost all by yourself now with the duty support or trust system. So you can go with NPC friends. So it still takes you like 48 to 56 hours to level up. And it happens just naturally over the course of time. So you're leveling up, you're doing the story quest, you're doing the cutscenes, you're listening to the dialogue, or you're reading the dialogue, or you're going to the new dungeon, or you're unfolding a new story, and you're getting like a new passive bonus here, or a new spell here along the way. And it takes a while. But WoW leveling has always been this 8-ish hour, maybe 12, 11, 12, 13 hour arbitrary level up, go through the zones, don't have flying kind of a thing, right? For the past few expansions. And what does it really do? WoW is about endgame. That's where the game is designed at its strongest. Is raiding, doing dungeons, PvPing, which is all this new season that's coming out. Whatever this is, of course. We'll probably find out when season 4 starts today, I imagine. Right? So to kind of rotate over to my predictions. We'll get, when season 4 starts, we will get a launch date for Wrath Classic. Which, by the way, there was a, let me see. Which one? Wrath Classic logo. Yeah. I don't know why they must want to do this, because I don't know why they didn't just use the original art with like the bottom, the subtext and the little pop out. Wrath of the Lich King, and then just put classic below it. I don't know why they keep doing this huge title card thing. I don't know why they did it for Burning Crusade. It looks kind of gaudy. It's just like this giant block of text. But potentially, I guess the real logo was just Wrath of the Lich King Classic, because you know it's World of Warcraft. The game's been out for freaking 18 years or whatever. So we'll get a launch date for this. We'll get a launch date for this. We will not hear about the World of Warcraft mobile game. That was actually just a news post. I have that news post right here. There's a save the date coming up. This was posted by John Haidt, I believe. So he posted that in the bloom of May, or for May. So beyond World of Warcraft and Hearthstone, we're preparing with the first game in the Warcraft universe designed for mobile to be in your hands. We will tell you more about it in May. So there's going to be like a keynote next month for the World of Warcraft mobile connection game thing. That's next month. The future of Warcraft is bright. On behalf of all of us at Blizzard, working to bring even more exciting Warcraft experiences to you. We thank you for being part of the community. We're excited about the journey in front of us, and we're grateful that you're joining us for it. Thank you for playing. We'll see you in Azeroth, the Tavern, and beyond. So this chunk here just talks about April 19th is the next expansion release. Then there's the esports celebration. And then WoW Classic. Players will be going beyond Zul'Gurub and Ghatakar. Season of Mastery stuff. Yeah, they'll be engaging the Battle of Mount Hyjal in Phase 3. So we'll get a Phase 3 launch for Burning Crusade. So we're going to get updates. They might... I wonder if they're going to go right into new expansion just to get that out. It's all going to be like a press play video. It's highly doubtful there's going to be any live segment today. Highly doubtful. It's most likely going to just be a press play on recorded keynote, you know? But yeah, Fikita, yeah, what if there were 4 to 6 Suramars instead of leveling? Yeah. You could also do a 5 level increase instead of 10. Or decide to do Cataclysm and just give us flying right out of the gate. It's strange. Flying has been just a weird contentious point for WoW for a long time. It's been tied to, you know, the 0.2 patched updates, but I guess I feel maybe spoiled playing 14, where you unlock flying naturally by just questing in the zones, because it's linked together. So by the time you're done questing in a zone, you can fly in that zone. So when you're done with the entire story and you've utilized all the ground travel in these 6 zones that expansions normally bring, you can fly in them. And that's it. No waiting a year for some rep grind patch connection thing. None of that. You do the whole story, which again takes 50-ish hours. It's a big story chunk. And then you can fly. All the loot drip in current WoW is to get you ready for mobile WoW. The mobile WoW game, I can't imagine it would be anything other than the World of Warcraft battle pets, but Pokemon Go. I can't imagine it be anything else, right? And the store is saying, yeah, ESO hasn't had a level cap increase either. They have a Paragon system. So that's like, is that like Diablo 3's Paragon system? There won't be any game director apologizing or crying on stream. That's tough. That's tough, yeah. World of Warcraft has a much more black and white business approach to dealing with their community. But being and catching up on the Square Enix Final Fantasy XIV community now for almost a year, getting there. Like end of May, June, I would have been playing for a year. But it's hard to... You can't take it away from Yoshi P when he gets on the live letters and is so sad and frustrated and obviously tired and stressed out and says we're going to push your expansion back 2 weeks, and he starts like crying because he feels like he's letting down his community and the family and the fans of that game. That never happened for WoW. That's never happened for WoW. Never. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Not happened. So they'll have a preamble that'll start here in a little bit. That's the post-leveling system. The champion bar. Mastered curation. Experience boosters. Alignment. There's a lot of text. Champion points, constellation guide. So it's like a bunch of, well, like, I guess like things you work towards unlocking later on. Okay. That was Sora talking about the Elder Scrolls doesn't have leveling. Ian will just look through your soul. No idea. What about player housing? Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if World of Warcraft can handle player housing. I mean, player housing in 14 is also a crazy debacle. They're having... It's weird being connected to the two communities, at least in a way. Obviously, taking a break from WoW currently, because it's just... I was on the sidelines watching this recent Race to World First, and man... I did a poll. Over 400 plus people voted on this poll. I was asking about 9.2. And, you know, the WoW Omega Law was the troll answer. But, I mean, if you add up the 25 and the 18%, I mean, enjoying the whole patch versus, you know, Pogger's raid, rest is meh. Like, at least the raid and a good portion of the community, just shy half, were enjoying it. So, I mean, if that's what you want in your World of Warcraft... But my biggest things that I am looking forward to, yeah, it's just gonna do this with the next WoW expansion. It's just loot. Primarily, it's loot and system bloat. The game has so much system bloat, so much borrowed power. So many things that you use once and then throw them away that you never feel continually connected to your character. And it's been very refreshing playing 14. There's no talents. Your job is as it is. The difference is because there's no talents in 14. you get a lot of your interplay, or you can play one job if you want, but you get a lot of your changing your play style up to keep it fresh because you level other jobs. Is there any audio here, or is it just music? Just music. So you level a lot of jobs in 14. It's kind of a cool like little timeline on the bottom of the screen. That's kind of neat. This is obviously WoW Classic right here, or Vanilla. That's cool. But yeah, you level other jobs so you can play different tanks, different healers, different melee DPS, different range DPS, different casters, right? No talent system. You get so much loot. Every reset in the game, when you raid, there are sort of two paths for how loot is. There are coffers that drop, where if you open the coffer on the job you want, you get that piece of loot that coffer says. If it's a bracelet, ring, chest piece, whatever. And they'll also drop upgrade tokens to upgrade weaker gear to the higher level gear. And the last boss always drops a curated weapon and a weapon coffer. So either the weapon that drops could be the one that you need, so you roll on it and you win it, because you only have one of each job in raids normally. So if a white mage staff, for me, example, drops, I get it. And the coffer goes to someone else, and they whatever weapon they get. Every single week you get all these chances at loot. And if you don't get anything, you still get these books, these tomes. And for an amount of tomes, either 2, 4, or 6 of them, so a few kills, a month of re-clearing, or just over a month, you then can just purchase the piece of gear you want. And that's the craziest thing about the World of Warcraft loot structure for so long now, is it's so random. And I remember raiding in Sanctum of Domination, where we would raid, kill every boss, and I would get nothing. Or the example I always used before in Castle Nathria, where a longtime member of the community would raid with us, playing Warlock, having a good time, enjoyed the expansion at the start, working through the initial expansion starting grinds. But I think it was 2 weeks straight between the weekly stuff you get from your Great Vault and the raid clears. He didn't get any loot. It's all personal, and no one can trade anything, because you can't trade loot, because if it's an upgrade for you, eye level wise, you can't trade it. So he got nothing for 2 weeks, and he was like, you know what? Nah. Because a lot of World of Warcraft, despite if you're, you're not a loot whore or loot-oriented player, it is still a big part of progression in that game, especially because you need loot for this spec specifically. You need, I need a caster trinket or a caster weapon, and there's always certain only weapons that casters, depending on what caster you are, can use. And only certain caster trinkets are good. It only drops off this one boss, and you only get one chance a week at dropping. If it doesn't drop for you, you can't get it traded because it's an upgrade for someone else. So you're another week back and another week back. And you just wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. Or you do what the top guilds do, and you run a bajillion splits and loot funnel farm. And I'm pretty sure that was the prevailing winds from the recent Race to World First, that it was insane. What was the first 2 or 3 days of the new raid being out was just split raids? The necessary evil to combat this stupid loot system and how stingy loot is in World of Warcraft. It takes you so long to gear in WoW. So that's my biggest thing, is loot stinginess. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? The investors, I guess. Their internal metrics, I suppose. Who cares if you get BIS gear in 3 or 4 weeks? on one spec. But it could take you months. I don't even know how it feels right now with tier gear. I'm not rating this current tier. I know there are improvements coming to it as a catch-all system to help with like Mythic Plus gear that you can turn into tier gear, but it's not even live now. It's like the same thing that happened with Legendaries and Legion. People love Legion and remember it so fondly, but for the first year plus, it was awful. You need this Legendary to be competitive. Okay, well, play everything, kill every boss, spam dungeons, do everything you can literally every week, run LFR, do all the things to stay engaged with the game, to stay paying, to stay playing. And then, oh, I get Prides. Or, oh, I get the Lavalash Bracers. Or, oh, I get Sefus. 6 weeks into the expansion, you don't have any of the actual fun, cool ones that actually, at the time before the aforementioned ones were buffed hilariously, were any good. It's not very fun. Ooh, loot RNG is back. It's great. I feel cool. I got my bracers on. Like, so much power is locked behind things in World of Warcraft that being nickeled and dimed for your time for weeks and weeks and weeks. And if you pull back and watch and pay attention, so many of the systems in how you're given loot in World of Warcraft feel like they're designed to keep you subscribed, to keep you a monthly active user for their meetings every month. And it's so icky. I know that's how games work to some degree. Some games do it worse than others, or a little more predatorily than others. So they keep you engaged, keep you locked in. But, man, after our 4th week rating in 14, it felt so good to not only clear the 3 bosses we had on farm, to start working on the 4th boss, because only 4 bosses in a raid tier. We only raid like 7-8 hours a week, though. It's not even that much. But then, because everyone got their 4th book, their 4th tier 3 book, not only did we get the 4 pieces of loot off the boss, then every single person in the raid went and bought one of their big pieces of gear. Which is like your in this case, like legs and chest piece are the 2 biggest budgeted pieces for armor in Final Fantasy XIV. So the whole raid, if you didn't get lucky to have it drop, you just went and bought it. You put in the time, you get the reward, boom. And then you're moving forward. It's so wild to me how archaic World of Warcraft feels. And how little loot drops in the game. Who cares if you get... It just, to me, it makes you feel like you want to... If you got your spec geared out quicker, let's say 3 or 4 weeks, BIS, for the new patch, would you stop playing, or would you gear up other specs or other classes? Would you actually then find yourself, because you can gearing other characters to an end game level? This also brings in that there's no crafting in World of Warcraft that matters at all. Right now, there kind of is with legendaries, but that isn't crafting. That's 1 piece of gear, or 2 now, right? That's not like a whole set of crafted gear that helps you get caught up on a alt spec or alt class that then rolls you forward so you can then start working on the end game. No, you're so far behind in gear normally that you can't catch up. Every tier in Final Fantasy XIV, it's actually a big money sink or time sink. There is a full set of crafted gear that brings you up to the last tier. It's actually a little bit stronger, realistically, so that you could just get into the new stuff if you either pay the gil or you take the time to craft it. And then boom, then you're ready to start progressing in the new stuff. There's no waiting. There's no weekly reset lockout crap. There's no, did my vault drop something I could freaking use? None of that. It's so refreshing. So that's my biggest thing. Our biggest thing for WoW in this next expansion. Alrighty, for those that are here live, this will be a little weird, but I'm recording this section to make a shorter segment that is just around the actual reveal. Well, hello, internet friends. My name is Bay. We are starting with the World of Warcraft reveal for expansion 10.0. And let's just turn the volume up a little bit, and let's see what happens. Okay. Right into a trailer. Recap trailer, probably. I mean, also, I didn't even talk about this. World of Warcraft has an incredible cinematics team. You're watching it all on screen right now. The pre-rendered or the in-game cutscenes are something that does separate WoW from...
For the Alliance!
Wait, what? What? I want to close captioning on, but why is it not on English? Hello? Subtitles German. There we go. No. There we go. Like that is still a huge thing that WoW does. That I don't think any other MMO does the same way. Their cinematics and cutscenes are...
Hi everyone, I'm John Haidt, General Manager for Warcraft, and with me today are my friends Ian Hazelcock.
Yeah, so it's all pre-recorded.
Director for World of Warcraft.
Let's just press play.
Longdale, who leads
a big
up the
keynote.
production team for WoW Classic. I really appreciate you tuning in. I know we're really excited to be able to give you updates on what's happening in World of Warcraft.
Volume okay,
First,
everybody?
I want to thank our community for all the feedback you've given us this year, and especially our community council. You've helped shape and influence the updates that we've done recently and what you're going to see in the upcoming year.
I mean, really, for Shadowlands in particular,
turn up a little more.
The story of the last 9 months or so of this expansion is all about the community, and it's shaped by what we've been hearing from them, and us realizing as a team that
some of it has been
needed to do a better job.
Some of it has been
making sure the community felt heard, and so that led us to the changes we made in 9.15. But also
Valor.
Examining some
He's talking about Valor
and foundations of World of Warcraft, about things like character investment and mains versus alts, or how catch-up should work, or the appropriate role of friction in our systems.
Loot.
And I think 9.15 represented a step in the direction of letting players have more freedom to play World of Warcraft the way they want to play it. And we really built our Eternity's End content update from the ground up around those principles.
What are some of the
people say 9.2 feels good?
Said that influenced your decisions for Eternity's End?
Things like the method and pacing of acquisition of the Covenant Legendary item, tons of tuning, and I think every step of the way, we were listening to make sure that we were carrying forward those lessons learned in the course of 9.15 into Eternity's End and beyond.
So WoW Classic was really came about because of the community.
Yeah, they continue to help guide and support us as Classic evolves.
World of Warcraft has always been about the world and the players that inhabit it, and we are in a lot of ways curators and caretakers of that journey and of that experience. And so once this Classic community formed and grew, we had to listen to them.
It's this tide of...
Is WoW Classic and Burning Crusade,
attention to what is a good
like, are the player numbers good
now? And where we
they
really
actually
saw
like
a sea change in this
strong
idea is with our Season of Mastery realm, which is a Season of Fresh Start Classic. And initially we were talking about it like it was going to be like a fresh start. Let's try this experiment in a season. It'll be about a year long. And then when the community found out about it, we started seeing this upswell.
Yeah, the team just took that idea and ran with it and turned, you know, what started out as a small community project into this Soul of Iron system that became a centerpiece of Season of Mastery and a whole new opt-in hardcore mode that we've seen communities built around. Lots of, you know, thrilling victory and painful defeat.
5 hours. I made it 5 hours.
Yeah, and it continues.
That does seem
like
quite
Burning
cool for the
Crusade
hardcore
Classic.
players.
We
I
wanted
love
to
that game.
balance the Paladin seals between Horde and Alliance, so we made an addition there. We wouldn't have gotten there without the community's input.
So influence the community. You've got another update and pretty significant controversial change for this.
Yeah, cross-faction play coming in 9.25. Which is on a public test ROM now.
We've only been talking about it for like 3 years.
Cross-faction. You're breaking with a 17-year tradition.
Yeah, it's something. It was not an easily made decision by any means, you know. And I think this is another one of those areas where really we try to take to heart community feedback and requests and ask ourselves as a team whether there's a way to accommodate such an earnestly held desire and still feel like we're being true to the roots of the game. I think players desire to play with their friends who might prefer a different
That's
faction,
so much more
or to play
important
with the
than the
faction
lore
they
of the
more closely
game.
identify with, even though their raid group is elsewhere.
It's really important for me. I play a lot of alts, and I love absorbing the story for each race, and having that ability to play with all of my friends across factions is fantastic.
At the end of the day, the battle cry is for the Horde. It's not against the Alliance. It's not death to the Alliance. It's about pride in one's faction. And I think there's a way to preserve that and even strengthen that while giving players the ability to make the same choice we've seen the greatest heroes make time and time again.
I can't wait to do this. I'm seeing a lot of my friends that I never knew had a max level character in the other faction suddenly come out of the woodwork.
And then, with these cross-faction groups, many of them are going to be diving into something new that we're doing to kind of cap off Shadowlands, a Season 4. Kind of a remix.
Yep. Season 4 with cross-faction play.
All of our raid zones across the
I didn't bring that up earlier. That's actually, that's
familiar older favorites into the Mythic Plus rotation. And, we recognize
yeah,
this is
Grimrail
kind of
Depot.
a closing chapter, a little bit of a send-off to Shadowlands. As everyone gets ready for what happens next, and what will come next, want to give, a fun new challenge for everyone to sink their teeth into.
Really cool stuff for modern WoW players. I'm super excited about the gear.
I like the
upgrades
set that they're
and
recording
the chance
in.
to go back and play some of those awesome raids.
There's a lot to explore. Very exciting.
For our next adventure in World of Warcraft, we're going to go back to Azeroth. We're going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans of Azeroth for a long time. This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW. So without further ado, let's watch the cinematic.
All right, here's the cinematic, I guess. High fantasy dragons. Money on dragons. Who's got money on dragons? And before we're all wrong.
The world has been sundered.
Dragons?
It cries out in pain. We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers.
That's deep lore.
Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land. Then you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
I like the design. That's cool. How is this stone boy got such an emotional face, but he hasn't made any emotes? Must protect stone boy. So World Forge, whatever they're called. Titan Forge. Oh, dang. Go, Stone Boy, go. This is precursive flash, these watchers. Oh no. There she is. So who had dragons? That was pretty Infinity War Thor. I was thinking the same thing. Yep.
The world is healing. But her fate is yet uncertain.
The dragons aren't all powerful anymore, though. They're mortal, right? Or semi-immortal? Look at that model, though.
Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Yep, there it is. Look at the logo. It's got wings. Look at that. Not the logo that was leaked, so...
Dragons!
Dragons.
Dragons!
This is so cool.
No one saw it coming.
No one saw it coming. Carefully kept secret. But seriously, I mean, what did we just see there?
The awakening of the Dragon Isles, the return of dragons.
Dragons are cool.
The dawn of a new age. Right, we've seen Rathian searching.
Dragons are
for
cool.
his father's
I mean,
legacy, searching for the Dragon Isles.
cool.
There's a reason why he hasn't been able to find them until now.
The beacon going off, is that summoning the dragons?
It is removing the concealment that had hidden the Dragon Isles from the world, but also beckoning the dragons back urgently.
It's a bit Mists of Pandaria, though.
I
Mists of
assume
Pandaria had the
Pretty
same
good
kind of
variety
magic, right?
Locales within the Dragon Isles?
Yes, the Dragon Isles, as kind of standard for WoW expansion, consist of 5 zones.
5 zones.
4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone that we'll get to in a second.
Can you talk a little bit about how the team found ways to thread the dragon aspects throughout the environments?
The Dragon Isles are a place that is lush and primal, bursting
Each zone is based on a
elemental
color.
energy. As Azeroth herself reawakens, those primal forces are expressed throughout the environment, whether it's magma activity, volcanic activity, whether it's the icy wastes of the Azure Span, and each one of those has a
art
connection
team.
to a dragonflight that we've seen before, and it's going to be an amazing place for players to arrive at and explore.
All right, you know I'm going to ask.
Yes, okay, so
Can I be a dragon?
let's start getting into some features here and what Dragonflight means for you as well as just a place. So first off, yes, we have an all-new playable race.
Okay, new playable race.
race.
Okay, Dragthyr.
This is
So the leak was right.
dragon, a draconic race.
Yep, there it is.
Dragons in Warcraft have the ability to take on
Worgen-esque. Worgen model.
What classes can they be?
Okay.
They have unique abilities as literally a dragon. That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes. And
Okay.
So what we're doing
Invoker?
is this is not just a new race.
Question
but
mark?
it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft, and not just an allied race, is something that we don't do lightly. But telling this expansion, this story, so focused around dragons, felt like the perfect time for it.
Okay.
So if you were a Dracthyr, you will be the
Evoker.
class. Dracthyr can only be evokers.
No N.
Evokers can only be Dracthyr. And the reason why only a
Okay.
Dracthyr could be an evoker is that an evoker is really combining the ability to call upon the magic of the different aspects with the unique physical gifts that a Dracthyr has. The ability to actually take flight,
That's
do
still
a Nyxia
cool.
style, strafing deep breath over the battlefield, land on the other side, knock everyone back with a wing buffet, and then unleash your magical abilities.
Yes, please.
The evoker has 2 specializations. They're a hybrid of either range DPS or healer, and they wear male armor.
Okay.
We figured, you know, with the new hero classes we've added over the years, we have enough melee, we don't need more of those. and also probably don't need any more.
So new range DPS, first time in 17 years.
Exactly. This is definitely a hero class, and so that means that, you know, like the Death Knights before them or Demon Hunters, they will be starting level 58, and then they're going to have a new starter zone. So they're going to have a slightly different journey into the Dragon Isles as opposed to the rest of us that are sailing there from other parts of Azeroth.
Can you talk a little bit about the customizations? Like what is going to be able to identify my Dragclear character?
Basically anything and everything. You know, skin color, hair color, jewelry, tattoos,
So
other
that
adornments.
that leak of the human model was not wrong.
In Azeroth.
New zone, new class,
Yep.
new race. Well, tell us about some of the system updates.
I mean, this
features.
expansion
Of course,
selling
new
stuff.
expansion brings with it, you know, new systems, new features. I think in recent expansions, one of the things we've tended to do is really have these deep features that were closely tied to a specific expansion that would then get left behind as we moved on.
We talked about that
And
earlier.
we heard loud and clear from players that, you know, it's kind of a bummer to
Been
start
saying
off
it for
every new
6
expansion
years, Ian.
by
6
leaving
years.
a large part of your character behind,
At
or leaving
least.
a large part of your progression behind. So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems. Things like
Okay.
our progression systems, in this case, our talent system is something that we want to completely revamp. We want to take a look at
Ooh,
our
the talent
UI.
system
We want to
leaks
take a look at
real?
professions.
So with the talent revamp and the
Hmm.
arrival of Classic, did you learn anything about how our talents work?
I think seeing a new generation of players
The classic talents
play
were poop.
with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things that frankly we lost when we shifted to the Mists of Pandaria style talents and beyond. A big piece
Goods
of
and
that
bads of
was
both.
some of just the granularity, the feeling of getting a level and spending a point to customize your character to make yourself a bit better in some specific way.
Yay, 1%
But
crit.
also, you know,
1%
that
crit.
sense of hybridity
Woo.
that you could have. That's something that we've largely lost. And so the new talent system
So this is
avoids
real?
directly pitting player power throughput choices.
That leak was
directly
real?
against those
Okay.
utility hybrid choices,
Okay.
because we know that there's always a right outcome there. And we also understand
Balancing
that, you know, there's a lot of
nightmare?
strength in the flexibility of the modern talent system to let players customize their talents for a particular encounter or for dungeons versus.
I mean, it'll be a
PvP.
cookie
We
cutter
don't
just like it
lose
was
any-
back then.
So John, UI?
Oh my God.
New
Yes,
base
I
UI
got
for the
this
game?
30-inch monitor, trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and oh, over here, what's going on in chat. It
This
has
might look kinda
literally
cool.
made my eyes go like this. So,
You're not alone in that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But really, this is a revamp. This is an overhaul. And so we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of.
I mean, I use
World of
add-ons
Warcraft.
anyway,
You know, at
but
the same time, we're not looking to take away the sort of power user customization there. Add-ons are still there if you want them.
Gotcha.
But we want a much better default out-of-the-box experience for all players, new and old alike.
and can I reduce elements, remove elements? If I want to explore the world
Oh.
and see the beauty of Azeroth.
When it comes to
Oh.
specific elements, as much as possible, we want to let players choose.
looks like
what to show
default
and
elf.
hide so that they can control it themselves.
And you mentioned professions.
And that cut
I have
so
a critical
quick.
question about this.
We'll have to go back in the VOD.
Can I wear a chef's hat?
Yeah, I knew it.
Our approach to professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and identity as a crafter.
Will crafting
And so
matter?
If you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you
Ooh,
want
look
to
at
be
that.
a great leather worker, we want to deliver the ability to invest time and energy into that, become a master crafter, be able to make
This is
items that
Final
are in
Fantasy
demand,
deriven.
interact with the community.
Crafting
One of the
in Final
pieces that
Fantasy
we wanna
14
do
is
to support that
nuts.
is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are someone, you're not yourself
Work
a
orders?
blacksmith, but you
That's
have
cool.
a bunch of mats and you want them forged into a great sword, you can put that work order up, list your mats, offer a commission, and
Huh.
a skilled blacksmith can come along and make you the weapon of your dreams.
That's very
I think with the
MMO-esque.
Stalin thing, though,
That's what Star Wars
be a drac
Galaxies
here,
had
go to
back in the
Dragon
day.
Isles. Can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of dragons if not soaring over the lands? And so we're really excited to introduce a feature that we're calling dragon riding. It's
Dragon riding?
dynamic with, you know, everything from momentum to dive bombs,
Hmm.
the ability to, you know, just sort of build that speed up and feel the world rushing past you in a way that's much more
Oh.
exciting than traditional flight that we've made available
Flap,
in the past.
flap,
But that's
flap.
also available for players through a customizable dragon mount right from the start.
Oh?
This is a skill you learn over time, right? To become a
Flying
awesome
from the
dragon
start?
rider?
Yes, you'll be able to sort of upgrade aspects of your flight, but you will have this new form of flight.
There's new
from the
physics.
start.
Look at the new
And
physics
the Dragon
involved.
Companion that you have is, of course, very thoroughly customizable, which is a new thing for us for mounts. This is not just a generic dragon that everyone has, but a drake that is yours. You know, what do you want its scales to look like, horns, the shape of its head, other
Basically
attachments,
just any
armor
flying
pieces,
dragon
more.
model
Take your
skeleton.
pick.
This is so cool.
So yeah, so the Dragonflight expansion is going to see players leveling to 70.
Level increase,
going to the
though.
all-new continent of the Dragon Isles, which
So
consists
10 levels.
of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our Drakthir class, as well as a range of systems revamps, such as a new talent system,
New talent,
an
yeah.
overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions with more depth than ever before.
Questions is professions
Also
will be
getting around the
worth
Dragon
it.
Isles is going to come in the form of dragon riding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own mount so that you can fly in a
And there's some cool looking
dragon.
dragon stuff they've shown off.
As with any
That's
new
neat.
expansion, we have a new set of dungeons, a raid, and much more to come.
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information and keep an eye out for those opt-in signups if you want to help us test out Dragonflight and give us even more feedback to make it better.
We do have a deep dive
Fair
that
enough.
follows this, so please stay around. Classic players, we haven't forgotten about you.
Yep, here comes
You can
Wrath.
probably guess where we're going to go next.
Yeah.
One of the all-time favorite expansions for World of Warcraft. Let's watch the cinematic.
Is it a new cinematic for Wrath of the Lich King? Remastered one, maybe? It's just a title reveal, looks like. Yeah, title reveal with a lot of cool sound bits. That's Frostmourne. Oh,
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas.
I mean, you can't deny the pogs for Arthas.
When my days have come to an end,
Hey, look, there's a dragon in Wrath too. That's why it was good, right?
you shall be king.
Is that new dialogue or just like a new recording? So that's 2022 November, sort of on the anniversary. Yes, the logo was
It's just incredible, isn't it? Every time I see the cinematic, I get chills.
Very
No
good,
pun
very good.
intended, I get chills. As you saw, Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming this year. It brings back so many memories. When you see that cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
Anytime you want to talk about undead frozen dragons, how can you not go back to Sindragosa as the source? That was the first expansion I played with my youngest son. So I can remember on that platform, black goo and, you know, chunks of ice falling off and having to repeat that battle.
I have
with
my
the Lich King
old
when we finally
old
down.
footage from
It was such an
Arthas back in the day.
incredible moment. He jumped up out of his
4
room,
by
I jumped up
3,
out of the
like
office, we're
not even
"Yeah!"
720p resolution.
So
Just
it's a
awful.
very lasting tale.
Just
for me.
awful.
So as
Old,
you know,
old,
with
old
this
footage.
expansion, you will, in pre-patch, be able to play the Death Knight. They will start at level 55. You don't have to have a high-level character to make a Death
OG
Knight, so
Wrath Lich King
everyone will
Death
be able
Knight,
to make
though.
one.
We're excited to
Tempting.
give players some time before Wrath officially launches.
That
to get
slower
geared up
play
and ready to
style.
jump into North America and everybody
Yeah.
else.
And there are so many zones and areas to explore.
That's the
in
old map.
Northland, and I want us to talk about some of our favorites. So for me, Grizzly Hills has a very special place in my heart. The music was some of the best I've experienced in World of Warcraft.
I
True,
still made
true.
my way all the way up to
Many
Storm Peaks
people are
to
saying
try and
this.
Find the time lost proto-drake and have yet to get it.
I've got to say, Dragonflight.
Poor John,
The
time lost
wide-open nature of the
proto-drake.
zone, Wormrest Temple in the center of it. It's an unforgettable expansion as both a developer and a player, and kind of making that transition from one to the other.
Now let's talk about some changes. So one thing we looked at is Dungeon
Well, the
Finder. And
the
it feels
troublesome
like
parts of
how we
OG
envision
Death Knight will be
Classic,
nerfed
Dungeon Finder
on
is
Gate
not a good
because it's
fit
not going to
for
be launch
community.
patch.
That
It'll be
was
a
the
later
first step
patch.
that may have eroded some of that social
So it's
fabric.
probably going to be
Now,
only
as people
blood
have gone
for
through the experience
tanking.
of going back to vanilla, rebuilding those
I
groups,
imagine.
relying on each other, not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But today, You can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a self-selected group of people who specifically want that different experience.
Yes.
Let's make sure that's what we continue to give them.
That leads right
That's
into
fair enough.
arena teams in Burning Crusade Classic. So we listen to the community and we remove that because individual rating is preferable and a better experience for them than arena teams. Also,
It didn't exist back in the day.
Barbershop, which allows you to customize your character. We're going to be adding a few more options that were not existing when Wrath launched, but also there's another side of this where we are not
more
gonna
customization
charge
in the
a
Wrath
real money
update.
fee. It was a paid character customization fee, right?
Yeah.
It seems the right thing to do that just be available in game for gold, and we add more options to it, right?
It's sort of like spell batching in a sense. There's a lot of
You want to roll that forward for the rest of the game?
Philosophy of what makes classic classic and what brings
The
people
MTX
together.
and WoW
It's
is also
what's
just
the better
absorbently
experience,
expensive for
and
no
let's not
reason.
artificially restrict something that we.
What does it
can provide
cost to do like a
better
race
of
change in
just
World of
for the sake
Warcraft? Like
nostalgia.
20 bucks?
This
What the
is-
hell is
we're happy to
so
say this is one of
expensive,
those
man?
cases.
So damn expensive.
Wrath. The level cap's being increased to level 80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that players who want to get in with their friends or just explore Northrend right away will be able to do that. You can't apply
And those
to
are a little-
Death Knight,
little
but
too
you will be able to
expensive.
use it otherwise. And of course, we have Inscription, a whole new
Yeah, I have to
profession,
check.
so
When
we're
was the
really
blood
excited about
only
that. Yeah,
Death
and
Knight
as
tanking?
we
Was that
continue
in
this
Wrath?
road
Late Wrath
to
or after? Yeah.
We're going to be looking
I
to
don't remember.
getting a lot more feedback on beta, and we'll make changes as we need to.
It was freaking
Such an
2008.
exciting time to be
So-
playing World of Warcraft. We have the return of the Wrath of Lich King for classic fans,
Which is neat.
and taking us somewhere new with Dragonflight. We're so excited.
Was it
to be
during the
able to
tournament
bring these
patch?
adventures to you.
It's on the wiki.
Don't forget, there's a deep dive on Dragonflight where you're going to get a lot more information. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, and we'll see you in Azeroth.
Thanks,
And
John.
We'll see you in Northrend.
And in the Dragon Isles.
All right, Dragonflight deep dive. So now systems and stuff. Weaving the story.
Hi there.
I mean,
Welcome to the Dragonflight Deep Dive.
Hi, Taryn.
I'm Steve Denuser.
And I'm Taryn Gregory. Starting it off here, we're going to talk about the setting and the story of Dragonflight.
I still
We've
love
got
this
great expansion,
the set they're recording
exciting
in.
pre-render trailer that everyone just watched. So let's talk about the setting for Dragonflight, the Dragon Isles.
Can we get some
Dragon
pogs
Isles
in
have
chat
been
for Taryn?
Known for a long time in Warcraft history as a mysterious place where the dragons came from long ago, but we never knew much more than that.
Yeah,
We're going to
Taryn-
this place
Taryn
that
got
is
promoted.
Kind of the broodlands of all the Dragonflights, the place where they nested, where they built their civilization. The Dragon Isles was the center of the Dragon's kingdom when the world was young.
It's
and
the
mortal
old
races
map.
were just starting to form kingdoms of their own. But when the Legion invaded for that War of the Ancients, that sundering that resulted from the explosion.
I really
of
don't
the
want
Well
to
of
jump on
Eternity,
Literal
the Steve
literal
Denuser
sundering
hate
of the
train.
continents of Azeroth.
But
and
hopefully-
because of the breaking of the world, that
Hopefully,
magic
because this
and
is
the
old
terrain
lore,
went
this
away
is stuff that's been
and
very
the
established. It's not
Dragon
like
Isles behind.
super
As we saw the
changed.
splendor, they left behind some Titan
That's been some of the
watchers
issues with the
to
past two
look over the
expansions.
land
But
and
probably
when
not even Steve's
someday
fault.
they hoped that elemental
At least not
energy
all of
would
it.
resurge once again and
Every
draw the
author or
dragons
creative
back.
person's gonna have their own take on the story, but obviously it changed hands a few different times during the process, so
Now it's the time for the sky to light up with the colors of the aspects once again, and for Alex Straza and the others to come home. But the land has changed a lot in all these thousands of years they've been away, and some very old threats have awakened as well.
We're looking into the culture of dragons as they exist in Warcraft.
Dragons, as we know them today, were very different in the early past, the early history of Azeroth. They were much more primitive.
like
much
that'll
more
be fun to
savage,
learn about.
what we now
That's
know as
Galakron.
proto-dragons.
And then some of the dragons
He
were
wasn't
empowered to become
mentioned.
the aspects. The green flight, red
His
flight,
bones are
blue
in
flight, bronze flight,
frickin'
black flight, each with unique
in the
powers,
damn
each with the
snow.
ability to protect the world in different ways. These pillars of draconic power appointed to defend Azeroth from threats within and without.
Dragons used that power both for good in the case of most of the aspects,
Right.
but also for nefarious reasons in the case of the Black Dragonflight led by Neltharion, who would become Deathwing.
And what we will
Well,
find in
some of the Black
is
Dragonflight.
that some of these ancient divisions run deep. And so it begs the question, where do we go from here? If this is an opportunity to reclaim their legacy, to be the protectors, as the cinematic mentioned, that they once were.
To do that, they're going to need the help of our
I need
heroes,
like
our
the full
players,
HD
to
render of
come
that
to the
cinematic.
Dragon
It's probably
Isles with
online
them
by now.
and face some of these reawakening challenges, because it's not just that this land is peacefully waiting for the dragons to return and reclaim it. There's those old enemies that have awakened as well.
Yeah.
One of those being a race of kind of elemental half-giants, the Jarden.
The Dragon Isles isn't just
Elemental
popular by
half-giants.
or just by the Jarden. There's also many other occupants here in the Dragon Isles that have been here either just recently or
It's a woolly mammoth,
including a fan favorite coming back, the Tuskar.
That's going to be awesome. We've got other
Tuskar, but not a playable race.
Dragon Isles. We're going to find out about a
Just
civilization
Tuskar
of centaurs
villages
that predates the ones that arose on Kalimdor much later.
And some of our
Look at the
favorite
environmental
characters that we've
team.
seen over
Oh
the
my
last few
God.
expansions such as Rathian.
And whether he's ready to step up into a leadership role, or if there are other alternatives out there that would be better suited to the job of being the aspect of the Black Dragonfly.
I think one thing the players are going to be really excited about this expansion is the new playable race, the Drakthir.
That's right.
And this is something that Neltharion, before he was Deathwing, before he went full crazy world dragon, that he put into motion.
Neltharion saw those.
So this is new
primalists
lore.
that were kind of breaking away from the aspects.
That's why I
of
was
what
saying,
they
hopefully they don't
wanted.
change all
And
this
so,
lore,
in those
but
first
this is
experiments,
clearly new.
He took the essence of dragons, their strength, their nobility, their wisdom, and he combined it with that scrappiness, that adaptability that the mortal races had, and he wanted to use that to create the ideal soldier in his mind, the Drakthir.
Now we did get
Exploration is really one of the key
Drakenoids,
themes
like
of this
Blackwing Lair and
expansion.
stuff,
We're
part
gonna
of his
be going to
experiments. So this
ancient
is
place that
this is
the
obviously
dragons left
thousands of years
behind
before
long
that.
ago. So we've made these huge zones with all kinds of places to delve into and find little treasures and little
Reasons
secrets tucked
for
away. It's gonna be
flying?
a lot of fun for players to be exploring these landscapes.
Design your
There's
content
so
with
much
flying in mind.
Architectural history and how clearly aspirational was the kingdom of the dragons and how it
Environmental
lost
team.
so much. And the themes of trying to
Killing it.
return to that, to try to find your legacy, to try to figure out who you were before everything went awry. But there's questions, you know, thematic questions of what does it mean to be true to your legacy? Are we going to repeat the mistakes of the past?
The dragons have had to learn those lessons just like the mortal kingdoms have had to. And I think that's one of the reasons why the dragons see this now as the time that they have to return. And they have to step up once again as protectors.
Oh yeah, art
as
department for
we're
World of
helping the
Warcraft is
dragons because
just
the dragons
always
have helped us in the past too. So
on
by
fire.
using the Explorers League
Killing
and
it.
the Reliquary together, that allows us to delve into some of that history.
And when I look, you know, upon the Dragon Isles and all of its visual splendor, I get so excited for the prospect of a truly Azerothian adventure alongside Caligos.
Whoa, Caligos model update! Ah! You saw it there for like 12 frames.
Trying to find
Holy
their
crap.
own flight. I am taken.
Justice
by
for
the
Caligos. Look at that boy.
exploration and Potential for adventure and
We'll
just
scroll back
new
later. I'm gonna have to
horizons
find
within
it
this
again.
world.
There's going to be old stories.
It'll
from
be
that time
screenshot on, like,
past,
Wowhead
that
or something.
history that only the dragons knew for the longest time. We're going to be able to explore that.
It really feels like just a breath of fresh air.
So now we're going to turn things over to some of our colleagues who will take you on that deep dive into the locations and the features of Dragonflight.
I mean, I'm all about the systems and features. The story is cool and all, but WoW
Hello, I'm
really
Stephanie.
isn't like a story game
I'm Jackie.
the same way.
I'm Gary. And we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Onaran Plains. The very
Cool.
first zone in Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores. It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around
Shannon gonna be
you,
looking to
and
get
the
back with her
elements are
axe
just
after that glow up. Woo!
Our team again has
Woo.
hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach, giant proto-dragons swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
We have
Yeah, how are there still proto drakes and proto dragons?
Rising up
Question
because
mark?
of the crazy magic that's flying around.
I just
one
thought of
thing I
that.
love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're going to get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon ruin architectures. The boats
Yeah,
come
where?
right
How far
alongside
away
each
is the
other.
island?
You can jump from one boat to the other and just start causing havoc on the other faction's boat.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for war mode.
It's free for all out there. It's going to be great. But it's okay. There's an innkeeper on the beach. So that
They're
if
still
you're
doing the
in
whole
that
Horde versus
situation, you
Alliance
don't wanna
stuff,
be in
even though
Horde
it's
anymore, you can just hop
cross-play.
out right there.
Cross-faction play for like
and
instant
the
stuff.
Explorers League are working together.
Still
The
weird.
Horde and Alliance
I guess
are sending an
whatever.
expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers exploring this new land. So it's a lot more optimistic tone.
One of my favorite things
Okay,
about the Waking
well,
Shores
there's that.
is the Red Dragonfly, led by Queen
Oh, there's that
Alstraza,
art,
the
so it
Life
wasn't
Finder. They
wasn't
have the
wrong.
mandate of
So that
nurturing
sucks.
and protecting all life. which means Cordon Alliance.
That someone leaked it,
Gorloks,
if it's real.
Trolls, everybody.
And it looks like
so
it was
they take that duty seriously. When the
not a one for
Cordon
one,
Alliance
but
come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there
that's
to
super
help
annoying.
guide the people through the new land and welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking Shores.
We have the ancestral home of the Black Dragon Flight there too, which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us, and he's going to try and
aren't there
come
only
to
like
terms with the
3
state of
black
the
dragons?
Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian?
Yeah.
Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden.
I love the Jardins so much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma, and when the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles
Is that
went to
new-
slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now.
That new
and
fire
they are
animation?
ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies of the Dragonfly for so long. They fought against the Red Dragonfly, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking
Yeah, well, this is all new lore, right?
As the Red Dragonfly,
This
have
whole
the
half-giant
mandate of nurturing
Dragon War
life.
stuff
They
is
don't
all
wanna
new.
just stomp out the Jarden.
Never heard of it
completely,
before.
But they want to make sure that they don't have the power to affect those around them negatively, to make sure they don't go on a rampage and destroy the ecosystem that has been created here.
And so
Yeah.
those are awesome things in the Waking Shore. But Steph, there really
It's
is
so
only
cool.
one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
What?
This is true. Ducks.
We finally have those webbed feet hooligans in our game. We
The
cracked
meme has
technology.
become real.
Figure it out. They can
They're
fly.
You
ducks.
should be proud.
Thank you.
It's gonna be awesome.
Ducks
The Onaran
confirmed.
Plains come right after the Waking Shores. It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Onaran plains are big, wide open plains. And the player
You haven't
is
missed
going to be
anything yet,
constricted
Mia.
a little
You've
bit,
missed
and then
ducks.
you see this big contrast of a zone. We don't always get that opportunity, that cinematic moment where the player can have a framed view when they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot
love
of the
that.
plains. And then
I mean, that's
this
just
giant fire proto dragon breathing
the
fire.
environmental team.
A herd of centaur like harpoon down the proto dragon and crash into the ground. And the first thing you get
Yeah, how
to
are
do
those
is
still
go help them
proto-dragons?
kill the proto dragon. Like how cool is that?
Interesting.
Who is Onara?
Onara is the wild god of the wind. And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle. She's the
Fair,
one who
yeah,
guided
yeah.
the centaur to the Dragon Isles many, many years ago. She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring the culture of the centaur.
The centaur are these mighty, awesome hunters that back when they first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long. Eventually they
That's
realized that
old
we're
WoW
strong, you're strong, maybe
centaurs.
we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace, we'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves and the centaur will hang out in the plains. But now the dragons have been gone for 10,000 years. And the centaur have come so far since then. And they've been here and they've been existing and developing their culture. They all came over as one clan led by the mighty Maruk and Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across,
World
you
of
have to
Warcraft
follow
story
their
writers
rules
and
their
loving
traditions.
putting
You have to earn their
apostrophes in
trust.
every
We're the
name.
first outsiders to come in generations upon generations.
Every
The
name just
centaur
has
might
to be
rule
apostrophed.
the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, art
And
team.
How great a
Killing
job
it.
it is that we have where I can take all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high
Ducks.
fantasy. We want to do lots of things with an open plain and we want to be creative with that. But we're restraining ourselves by letting the zone sing, letting the horizon tell the story. We certainly couldn't have done that in the vanilla WoW.
No, definitely not. The zones are so big and you can see so far, especially in Onaran Plains. So we
Yeah,
talked
looks
to the
pretty.
engineers and we actually increased that distance.
It spurs you on to want to
Another
adventure and
increase
look
in
to the
draw
zone and
distance?
explore everything.
The interesting thing for me is we have
thought it was
all
already
these
wickedly
conflicts with
increased.
Dragonflights. There's missing
don't know.
dragons, there's
Huh.
battles, there's so much crazy stuff happening, but that's not really all we're doing. There's so much extra fun activities for people to do. And the greatest thing is that you need to figure out exactly what's going on and help solve all the problems that are just sprouting up everywhere.
We're just really excited to tell a story that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration. There's so much more to talk about. But now,
Meet
we're gonna
the
have
mighty
some folks talking
Ba'ab.
about the next two zones that players are going to experience in the Dragon Isles.
They're really giving away a lot in these zones right now, I suppose.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate.
I'm Christy.
I'm Kate.
I'm Sean. We're going to talk today about Valdrassus and the Azure Span. So Azure Span is going to be the third
Yo,
zone
more
that
art
players
team.
venture through, and it's one of our biggest zones that we've done in the Dragonflight, maybe even to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first
Yeah,
were
that
taking
looks
a look
incredible.
at
That's so
the
cool.
design, we kept coming back to
It's a little bit
one
How
of
to
our
Train Your
favorite
Dragon, though.
zones, which was Grizzly Hills. And we really wanted to take that, but wowify it more. And I don't know if you've ever been up to the Bay Area, but in the morning, that coastal fog comes in and dips down into the redwoods, and that sun shines through. That's really what we wanted to encapsulate with this forest. And not only we have redwoods, but
And
we've got
big
all
trees,
different
though.
types of trees. Eventually, it'll break open into this wide open tundra that's just golden and red, and you'll reach up
Those
to
kind of
another
Nathria-esque
level of elevation
ish.
where you get to see the snow. The majority of the zone is covered in snow and ice. We have giant frozen waterfalls.
This is all one
ice
zone.
rivers as far as the eye can see. And Sean, I know in the forest we can expect our first creatures.
We have a small group that lives there called the Gnolls. These gnolls are all throughout the forest and Azure Span.
We've had
They've
gnolls
made this their
before.
Home. Some gnolls with strange magic that we're going to find out what exactly that's about. Snow gnolls, or as I call them, the snolls, up in the winter area, and then some
Me
regular
as a
gnolls that are just gonna
snoll.
be around the forest area. So then we go into the
Those
big
models
open
are really
tundra,
good.
where we meet our second group, the Tuskar.
It's going to be really neat to explore their culture a lot more.
And those kids are
We haven't had a
adorable.
Tuskar village since Wrath, right?
Honestly, all
I
my
think, is that correct?
We hang out with the Tuskar.
Yeah, Grizzly Hills and Storm Hills.
So
Just
it's been a little while
yeah.
since you've seen them. We remember the Tuskar from Wrath of the Lich King.
Environmental
We're also
production
doing
is
a
usually one of the
nice
first
little
things,
upres for
yeah.
models, along with expanding their culture.
It's always
there
the
are gonna
systems that
be
take a
male
long
Tuskar,
time.
Female Tuskar kids. So we're gonna
Male and
fight
female
alongside
and
them,
kid
which
Tuskars?
includes help from a certain group of dragons, the blue dragons. We're gonna follow.
Yo,
the
look at those
story
new
of
models.
Kalagos,
Oh, look at
our new
Kalagos.
dragon buddy from the Kirin Tor, and he's gonna be adventuring into Syndragos' archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises.
Yo, that Kalagos got that new drip.
To Aldrazes.
Aldrazes. It's really incredible because you will be going through some of the
Yo,
previous
Journey to
zones, and
Atlantis?
a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings. But when
Square
you get
runes
to
and
Aldrazes,
water?
everything is perfectly intact. It's beautiful.
It's Chad.
pristine.
Chad
It is
Kalagos.
the seat of power for all
Yeah.
5 dragon flights.
Looks
and
great.
Home of the dragons.
I mean, anything looks better than what he
Feels
used
that
to look
way
like.
With the huge vertical mountains, we've got these great cave systems where you may end up finding little dragon hordes.
My favorite dragonflight right now is the Bronze. They've got a really cool area in Thaldrazis, and their magic is time. There's so many cool story hooks that we could dig into.
That's a
there.
dungeon?
There's so many cool gameplay options, and we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Can't wait. We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdrakken. It is a
Valdrakken.
culmination of all of the dragon's efforts to put together what a city would
Dragon
look like.
Grease.
So we ended up having a bunch of really fun small vignettes where you see that the blue dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green dragonflights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have some convenience services for players, including an auction house in the city, which will be really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares.
Dragon auction house.
The thing
Okay.
that really sold me on Thaldrazis was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And this is a 10,000-year-old Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome aqueducts that actually come out from the structure
Yeah, it's
all
like
the way
Dragon
to the city
Grease.
across the valley. And in the cinematic, there's just this amazing shot where you see Alexstrasza swoop under one of them, and there's splashes of water cresting across her wings.
Yeah, but that's just the
So
that's
when
just
players
the
are flying around
cinematics team
themselves,
showing
they
off
have their
there.
Alexstrasza moment. What
Which
an
is fine.
incredible place and filled with so much history.
Tierhold was built by Tyr. He was a Titan Keeper back in the day who
Fair enough.
helped the Aspects fight Galakrond. And
Mhm,
when
mhm.
they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility.
That sounds
And
correct.
Even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence. But that was 10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been invasions, betrayals. Aspects have died. And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So now they're all back here, and they're all here together.
As we were designing the zone and the city itself, we're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and, go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool.
As a player, you
They probably had to
don't
make a very
have your own
specific
dragon
call
wings.
that there's an auction
You are
house
going
there.
to learn the art of dragon riding.
It's so
Because there isn't one in the
vertical. I'm just
Shadowlands.
excited to like dive off the tops of towers.
makes
and
sense,
swoop
though.
Under things.
It's actually one of the things that we're about to learn about next.
Oh, Dragonflight.
Hi, I'm
No
Jake.
archaeology.
I'm Andy.
I'm Kali.
And I'm Graham, and I'm really excited to talk
From
to you
last
guys today
expansion.
about the Drakthir Evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
Yo, boy on the right
talk
looks like
about not only
Superman.
Evoker, but also dragon riding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed
Yes, this is
expansion,
a
we
new
wanted to
new
let you
thing.
play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake.
Okay.
I know. But a draconic humanoid. So the Drakthir, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the
Yo, as a film nerd, I'm loving all these different
let's talk a little
talking
bit about
heads
the
with all
Evoker,
the
the class
different
that you
people
What's
from the
unique
different
about it is
teams.
because
So
the
good.
Drakthir are created by an aspect. They have the ability to wield the magic. of
Just
all
hearing
5
from
dragon
Ian
types.
all the
So
time
Evokers can
gets a
take
little
advantage
bit
of red magic, blue
regurgitory.
magic, and bronze magic.
And to
But
show
hearing
that,
from the
we
different
created a visual, what we call
team
a
leads
prismatic
and
effect.
stuff is
This
great.
prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them. And
I'll take that one.
Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure
Yeah,
that each
that's cool.
specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic.
So,
red being very
the
fast
caster
and explosive,
has 2
burning everything
specs.
with fire, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
there's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green
So
and
it's
your
3
bronze
specs,
magic. So
1
your green
class,
is gonna be evocative
2
of the
ranged,
Emerald
1
Dream,
healer.
Your growth and
Okay.
your nurturing spells. And then you have your bronze magic, which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation,
Very Heroes of the Storm.
powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower.
Ah,
where
this
when
is
you
also
actually
that
hold
leak.
down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you
So you
charge
can
it up,
charge
the more damage, or hit
spells,
more targets,
okay.
depending on the spell. But it gives you this really physical connection and control that's new for World of Warcraft, and I think is feeling really, really good.
It's gotta have a max
great
charge,
animations. Thank you, Andy.
right?
Your team.
Love it, Andy.
You feel physical when you're casting your
That's
spells.
neat.
You
That's
can
neat.
actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above. It's great.
In addition to the gameplay, though, another part of feeling draconic is looking like a dragon.
Well, we talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, finger guns!
Awesome.
Because you have both your draconic form and your humanoid form.
Like
And
your- like a
the
worgen.
customization options
Yeah.
for both of them are amazing.
They're very good.
What about color? Just tell me.
tell
you
us
can
about the
change
color. You can do a lot of matching. So your visage form can have scales that are the same color as your Drakthir form.
But
That's
my
cool.
favorite, super favorite part of customization for the visage form, hair.
Yeah.
Because I can actually do this in game.
Yeah.
The tech is here.
We finally did it.
As players make their way through each of the areas of the Dragon Isles, they'll partner up with the Dragonflights to move through the air as they've never done before. You'll
Yeah,
notice
this
I
looks
did not
neat.
say flying because flight has a very specific meaning for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it does.
And we're talking about something new called dragon riding.
And as the players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along with the different.
Yeah, the
look and
animations
feel
are pretty
of the
wild.
drakes.
We're aiming to shake up movement
In,
with
like,
this new
the
system,
17
providing players
frame
with a
clips
deeper
we get.
immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle drakes, completely unique from all the other things they've seen in World of Warcraft. And so we wanted to come
So I
up
wonder
with
if
a
it's
movement
limited where you
system
can use it, maybe?
that would add that sense of physics, weight, and gravity, like you were mentioning. We knew it was going to take a huge team effort, not just animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily, and that combined with some new
Yeah.
animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start hitting, maximum velocity, you're going to see contrails coming off the edges of the wings. And then as you do your rolls and spirals, you build up more and more speed. There's going to be some screen effects on the display to indicate that you're reaching maximum velocity. which really adds to the overall
It's fine.
immersion and sense of reality.
As players make their way through the Dragon Isles, they'll discover new cosmetic options to fine-tune their Dragon Isle Drake's appearances. Things like snoots, horns, tails, elusive Dragon Isle Drake armor, and more.
Can I have spikes?
Definitely.
Okay.
We want to provide players
That's
with
neat.
all
That's
new
definitely how to
skills
train
play
your
with,
dragon.
as those who can use their
Or how to
momentum
dress up your
can
dragon, I
reach higher
guess.
and higher heights and bring on new, more difficult challenges.
We just have
Yeah, you
so
can
many
notice how
new,
much slower it
gorgeous
gets
options to choose from,
after that
and
first dive.
I'm
It
just
definitely
so excited
slows
for all of
down
them.
in the
I'm excited
glide.
for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun
Yeah.
to work on, but I can't wait to actually get in the game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. It's
Yeah.
gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
Very cool. Yeah, the talent revamp is pretty wild. This is pretty extensive, although it'll be cookie cutter,
Hello,
but
my name is
also
Brian. I'm Crash. I'm Jay.
And I'm Laura. We are very excited to share we are finally revamping the WoW HUD UI.
And
Yeah.
it is also time for a major revamp to talents and specializations.
I have a big
Yeah,
question
yeah.
for the group. How long do you think it took for us to finally revamp the WoW HUD?
My guess is like 15 years.
Close, 18 years.
18 years.
Wow.
You know, technology has changed a lot since we made the UI back in 2004. Now you have like bigger monitors.
The HUD is
and
super
us, we have
old.
better dev tools to
It's
work
true.
with, so it makes sense to have the revamp right now. Also, if you look at the game today, the art evolved beautifully over the years. And if you look at the HUD looks like it got froze in time.
Yep.
So when we approached
I mean, I
this,
use
we
add-ons,
wanted to
so
create a layout experience that players could customize, move things around, adjust it to
Yeah,
fit their needs.
talents haven't changed in years anyway.
For player customization?
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity
I'm jealous
to use
of
them, that
this
they
guy's
become
beard.
a part of the base UI.
I'm jealous.
And we are working very closely with our user research team to make sure we are hitting the goals that our player needs.
It allowed us to add new functionality to improve accessibility in a lot of areas. And on top of that, we are going to be improving the art.
Yeah, so the art
mm.
update, it's a big part of
It looks kind of
Spec.
like base
The UI
base
that we have
elf.
today has a lot
It's
of
clean.
charm and personality, and players have been using that for 18 years. So with that in mind, we want to respect the players who really like the current UI, but do a more than take to it. Removing the clutter and giving more visibility for your gameplay. So the new minimap, it looks bigger, and the health bar is also much bigger. If you look at the
Yeah, it's
action
very
bars
clean,
in the bottom
simple.
menus, they have less head frames, and you can really open
The micro
up
menu
your
is also a
gameplay.
lot more
So you
simplified.
have a lot of your UI in front of you. And
Yeah,
of
it's good,
course,
it's good.
we want to find iconic pieces from the current HUD, but we want to bring it back in a nice way.
I wonder if you can just, like,
So
turn it
for
on and
sure,
off or
the
whatever.
Griffins, they look so nice now. And the Horde, don't worry, we got you. You're going to have your version as well. So let's talk about the edit mode.
We are putting a mode in that will let players move various HUD elements around on the screen.
So I'm able to move the mini-map.
That's a
say, from the
decade and a
right
half
corner all
late,
the way
but
over to the left corner.
sure.
If I want to bring my action bars from the bottom and kind of put them more in the center. by
The
my
new
character,
quest-
those are all things that I'll
quest
be able to do.
tracker,
Absolutely. And each
very
of those
clean.
different components will have various sets of options that you'll be able to work with.
Looks
They'll
almost
be
kind
able
of
to save it,
Overwatch-esque.
edit it, copy it, name it. Also, it'll remember which spec you're in. So if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
This is an ongoing project. We're going to keep working on it. So
Yeah,
we really
move
wanna
anything
get back to it.
baseline.
A project
Yeah.
that we're all excited about that we've been
Yeah,
collaborating.
an
a lot
add-on that's
on,
been
something that's
around
pretty
for
UI intensive,
decade
and
plus
that's
is now
talent
part of the
system.
base game.
Hadn't
Yeah.
changed in a long time, like you said before. And we really started with how can we have players have more choice over what their character has?
As you level up, we give you a new spell, a
Fine.
new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We decide the order.
Yeah, we started looking for a system that would give players a much wider set of options.
And after looking at all those things, what we really returned
Yeah,
back
this
to
new
was
talent
the
web
idea
is
of
pretty
choice.
wild.
But it's actually
I
two
just
trees.
wonder
We have a class
if
tree
it's a
that offers
balancing
different
nightmare.
class utility, and then we have a spec tree that is focused on performing your role, whether that's
I'm not
damage,
gonna
tank, or
pause here.
healing.
This
Can I
looks
just
very
jump in and
Star
say that
Wars.
I personally
Like
am
SWTOR
super
does this.
excited about having trees come
Where there's a
back.
class
There's
tree and a
big
spec
nostalgia
tree.
hit for me.
As we said, we have these two trees because we feel like picking a specialization is a really important part of your World of Warcraft character now. And so we want to make sure that when you choose that, it kind of affects the tree in some way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as you open your talent tree, you'll see something new. The class side will have some abilities filled out for free, just kind of starting you off in that spec you've chosen.
Yep, fair enough.
But then you'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to
I wonder
that
how many
spec level,
points
or it
you
could be
get
something from elsewhere in the class.
if everything
There's
costs
a
one.
lot of things that we can do here, and part of that is encouraging players to perhaps make combinations that they've never really been able to see in the game.
They're
before.
good at balance
This is an
sometimes.
opportunity to put a lot more
So there's
art
just
and
like there's
fantasy
Tree of
in the
Life down
actual
there.
talent
So it's just
UI
a
itself.
You have
it's things you already unlock, but they're just.
most recent expansions, but not at the
I'll go
base
into it
UI.
more later.
We want you to be able to tinker with it. You know, we want you to be able to make a lot of changes at a lot of times and not necessarily have to commit. The power really is coming back to the player. It's not something.
Looks like
we
the
want people to
talents
feel
with
locked
the
into.
left and
so
right
one of the things
toggles.
that we'll be preserving is
That's
the
like a
ability to change these
multi-selection one.
talents.
Everything else is a
It's the
single
same kind
node.
of frequency that you do now.
Yeah, the old school players, when you
So you
see
basically still
trees, they
lock in a
start
mop
just
talent,
think,
like you
yeah,
saw
I'll go
Typhoon
from my
down
raid
there.
night to my arena match and figure out what I think is the best for both of those.
And that's a process we want to make really fluid. So we're building a save
Yeah,
load
see, you
feature
see like
that lets
where
you create your build, name
like
it,
Wild
save it,
Charge
and
as
then
well
load it up very quickly.
has the little left and
Talents
rights.
are really about the breadth of options. We've made all these different cool things over the years, but when are they at their coolest? It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
So these are really cool features that we've
Well,
been
not
working long and
continuously
hard on.
losing
We're very
things
excited
expansion
about
after
them.
expansion.
Just an early preview of the things we've been doing. We can't wait to see the reaction that you have to them, and
Yeah,
please
it
reach
looks-
out to
looks-
us and let us know your thoughts on them.
It looks fun.
And next up, we're going to talk about professions and Dragonflight.
Here's another big thing. The talent revamp and profession revamp. It depends on if the professions can you make relevant
Hi,
stuff.
I'm Joanna. And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our plans for
Profession
professions in
team.
Dragonflight. Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool incremental updates over their life. But for Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different.
They've been
We really
mostly
wanna
pretty
rethink
useless after the
professions
first
and
couple of
figure out how to
weeks,
make
though.
them part of your identity as a player, if that's what you want.
We really want to make sure that professions feel fun and relevant across all levels of gameplay.
That brings us to our first update, something that we're calling crafting orders.
Yeah, this
If you wanna
sounds
have something
cool.
crafted for you, but you don't have the skill or the right profession to do it for yourself,
This does sound
you can have
cool.
it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted,
Yep,
pick the
yep,
one
yep.
you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including
Cool.
ones that only you can get your hands on. You can find someone in person to do it right in front of you for you, or you can also
Wonder
go
how
to
that
an
works with
NPC
soulbound
using an auction
mats.
house-like interface. Send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone
200
from
gold.
public order,
With the way the
or
game's
you want
inflation is
your
right now.
guild, or to a specific other player.
Missing a
Maybe
couple
friend you
zeros.
know will be able to craft the item really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this
That's very
is
Star
the
Wars
items you have
Galaxies.
crafted
I
can
used to
also be
do this kind of stuff.
soulbound. In
Do
the
work
past,
orders.
You could only get your hands on crafted soulbound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for them, which is really neat and really expands
That's
the
fun.
number of items
Yeah,
that
that's
we
good.
can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting order system.
This is also really cool because it means as a crafter, you can start building your client base. People are going to come back to you.
Ah,
to get certain
crafting
items.
quality.
You're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little something extra.
5
You're also
stages,
gonna
though?
be
That seems like a
leveling up your
lot.
Profession is going to be really great.
There's
For the
high
first
quality
time
stuff
you
in
go to
Final
craft,
Fantasy.
you're gonna
It's
notice
just
a lot
yes
of
or
different
no,
things,
though.
But probably the biggest is the introduction of
Is or
quality,
isn't high
both
quality.
Your crafted items and your gathered reagents.
Oh, don't go
works
too
in a
far with
simple
this.
way. If you craft something that's a higher quality, it's just going to be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's, for instance, a potion, that might mean a more powerful effect at a higher quality.
We're doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of
Gotta
work
be
into
careful
it
with
to make
this.
sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
Excuse me.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats specifically to your professions, both crafting and
I saw it, yeah,
This is another
resourcefulness or
major
something.
input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the
Yep,
past.
they've been in the
as
game in the
far back
past.
as original World of Warcraft. With
Yep.
Dragonflight, you can go out and earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave who can teach you a little bit about your profession. So let's say you're a blacksmith. You might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're going to get at crafting all armor.
This also means that
fine.
if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths.
Just depends on.
Providing something.
It looked like there were 5 levels of quality,
team, which is really
meaning
cool.
that
reminds
players will
me
only
of
care about
another
the
update.
highest.
We're actually adding crafting tables to all the different crafting professions. We're going to take those, we're going to put
Because the
them all in
middling
main city of
tiers,
Valdrakken, and
why-
you're going to go in there and you're going to get to see
Why have so
all
many
the
levels of
different players
granularity?
crafting their items
Just
at
high
their
quality
full
or
crafting
not.
tables.
Hmm.
Yeah, it means you're going to walk into the city and you're going to see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're going to see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders. There's going to be a whole new crafting area that's going to make you feel really part of.
I mean, that's very
seems like a much more
RPG-ish
lively
if it
has in the past.
if
What
it
I'm
works.
most excited about though is the gear. We're introducing new types of gear for every profession, and when you go to say mine and
Yeah,
node,
that's-
you're actually going to just switch into that gear. It's going to be really great.
That's cool.
You're not going to
Cosmetic gear, yeah, that's cool.
anymore. There's actually going to be dedicated slots for each of your pieces of gear. But
Whoa.
I'm a numbers guy. I love progressing. All pieces of profession gear will have
Armory
those
chest?
special
Question
stats
mark?
that we mentioned before on them. And as you get your hands on better versions of the gear, it's really going to help you get better at your profession.
I can't wait.
Thank you.
Yeah, they
for tuning
Titan
into the
forged
Dragonflight Deep
crafting.
Dive.
We've
Oof.
heard a lot about the content and changes coming in Dragonflight.
Kind of.
and we've got a
It
lot
seems
more in
like
store for you
that
in the
way.
coming months.
Until then, we'll see you in Azeroth.
It did sound like they were Titan forging crafting, which could be just terrible. Is that it? Black screen of doom. That's it. Sorted food. There we go. So let me see. Is there like an official post up now? Looks like there's an official post up. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. There's the official post up. Yeah, Dragonflight announcement trailer. Announcement trailer for Classic Wrath of the Lich King. The logo is so damn big. I don't know why it's so big. So we can go to the official site. If it doesn't crash. There we go. Very good. Very good. There's the beta opt-in. Discover the Dragon Isles. That's the little, that's the cinematic right there. Very cool. So yeah, it looks like the human form, the visage form is just blood elf or whatever. That's fine. And the Draconoid form, the Drakthir form is definitely scaled off of Worgen to at least begin the skeleton, which they have to because they need to be able to bind armor to it. Although you'll notice the armor that they wear doesn't 1-for-1, I guess, when they transform. I wonder if the dragon armor is not tied to what you're technically wearing, which is helpful for taking a long time to make stuff. And this is the Dragonrider. This is a cool little applet thing here. Very how to train your dragon. Different ways. It's all the different dragons. This is like a pterodactyl from BFA. But they're just reskinning stuff. This is a wyvern reskin to be a dragon, but they want multiple different combinations of different ways you can have a dragon. This is a proto-drake, obviously. These are all the zone previews for the 4 zones. This is the dragon riding preview. Very cool. And again, the website looks beautiful too. This is just gorgeous. Very nicely done. New talent system. So this is what we can go over. I wanted to go over this to a moment. How many pictures do they have? 1. Okay. It's just 1 picture. Look down here at the bottom. Can I do open in new wind? Nope, too small. I can go like this. This is what I was noticing in the when they were talking about it really quickly anyway. So obviously you have passives that lock in. Like this is Rebirth and Stampeding Roar, things you already have baseline anyway. Restoration, also Tranquility and Nature Swiftness, things that you just lock in anyway, right? So then clearly you have loadouts down here, which is really cool, like built-in loadout saving. You have your PvP talents down here, war mode on or off. The UI looks great. This is totally functional, totally fine. These nodes here, like this is where Typhoon is, or where Mighty Bash is, or Wild Charge is, for example. These are the swappables, so they still have the same limiting factors that you currently have in the game, where you can only select one of these major talents. So it's a melding of the current version and an old version. Obviously, a lot of these are going to be just passives. Like this is thick hide, right? This is like probably a passive to Iron Fur or something like that, unless you have to unlock Iron Fur. But this is a restoration druid, so this is like gonna be like the thick hide plus armor passive or something like that, you know? There's gonna be a lot of passive points. People wanted their passive points back. I personally, here's Flourish down here, right? This is a new talent right there. I don't know why people think they need these passive talents. Like, your healing spells do 2, 4, and 6% more healing. Neat. I guess it's RPG oriented, but to me, it just makes me kind of go, it's whatever, right? Because the major nodes are going to go for, if you look, circles, looks like probably passives maybe. Whereas the blocked squares here, like the octagons, probably are the active abilities. And then the diamonded, you know, the carroted, arrowed, whatever. These are your selectable talents that are also a spell, right? Clearly. I wonder how many talent points you get. We are going to level 70. Quite curious. They did not mention how many loadouts you could have. No. I mean, this is showing loadout 3. So I don't know if there's 3, 5, whatever. At least 3, it looks like. So that's fine. I mean, clearly you'd have like a raid spec and a PvP spec primarily, but then you just reset all talents right here. It's like a just button you press to reset. It looks like there's probably nothing associated with it unless there's a gold cost when you click the button. Who knows? But you just click the button to reset your talents. Big deal. Right? And there was no mention of like a Heart of Azeroth. There was no mention of like artifact power or aspect points or any of that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Very curious. Sort of checking on the social medias. Yeah, I got pinged. Yep. Look at the new Caligos. Yep. I'm aware of the new Caligos. That is correct. Yep. What about my Tinker? Both specs have 24 selected. 24 talents selected. But are you adding the fact that this is 3 points right here and this is 2, this is 2, this is 3? 2 over here, 2 over here, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, right? So it's not a 1-for-1. Did you add those together as well? I'm just wondering if it's 1 talent point per level. So we'll have 70. Do they start at a certain time? Like, when do you pick your specialization? Is it still level 10? Is it earlier now? One of the leaks was level 5. So is it 1 point per? Is it a scaling point system? Because you're not gonna be able to unlock everything. Right, that's the whole thing, right? This is like the Moonkin aura. This is what this is right here. And then you unlock, like, a Sunfall and Starfire or whatever. So like Moonkin form to be able to toggle in and out of it right here. And there's some cat form stuff over here. Feline swiftness, I suppose, just going off of icons that I recognize. So is it 65 talent points? Is it more? Do you get extra ones when you hit every level 10? We have no idea of knowing how many points you get. Do the unlocks on the left side, like Trank and Nature Swiftness, these look like they unlocked after you hit a certain point? Part of the reveal. Well, part of in the reveal VOD here. Let me it's gonna be so hard to find certain things because they're so quick on the frames. Yeah, I'll have to look and see if there's pictures posted elsewhere, but it might be a point. Yeah, there was no Dragon Covenant nonsense. There was no borrowed power sounding stuff. There very well might be. Nothing on the actual website about it. So new level cap, new raid, new dungeons. That's, as you might expect. There's some cinematic stills here. Are there other images from the... Okay, it adds 4 more. Okay. That's really it. There was a question earlier if I'm going to be doing class preview stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I will get beta access or not. Who knows? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to do that. Again, I did it for many, many years. I think, you know, covering things in sort of like a passing brush stroke might be okay. Like talking about news updates and stuff, but I don't know. I might experience this just from a player standpoint for the first time since Warlords of Draenor. Since I did big coverage for Warlords, Legion. I technically started in Mists of Pandaria, but it wasn't the same way. BFA, Shadowlands. So, but I've also learned a lot since then, and I would probably make a lot shorter videos than I used to. But pretty cool little first look. Well, this just pops up. Yeah, okay. So this is an example of the new like charge up abilities. So plenty of the leak stuff did come through as relatively real-ish. Only, you know, some parts of it, obviously. That leaked picture of the screenshot here, I believe. So this was real. So yep. That just sucks, kind of. Like, it's cool to go over leaks, and we opened the stream today with an hour of just looking at leaks for fun. But it really wasn't, obviously you have no idea what's real or not. But what does turn about when you realize that they were real is that they were either things stolen by PR agencies or from employees posting stuff, obviously breaching NDA, and it does kind of suck, that is for sure. These little oh, okay, just like a little applet video showing off what they have worked on so far. Examples of the caster and healer, because the evoker, not invoker, but evoker, has a range DPS and a healer. It's a range DPS and a healer. So first range DPS added in game's history, literally in 18 years. And you can, of course, seek to forge your own path in Azeroth, willing to fight for the Horde or the Alliance. But again, it's cross-faction play coming in the next patch. So really, no matter what faction you play on, you can still do dungeons and raids outside of Mythic to a certain degree, I imagine, or ranked PvP. New intro experience, of course. And they look cool. Models look cool. I just imagine they might have a different rigging system for armor. I don't know if all of our regular armor is going to work on them because they have a totally different head structure. The body structure might work just fine. But yeah, so evokers can fight from mid-range with claws and fiery breath attacks, devastation, or draw upon the life-giving magic of renewal to bolster their allies, preservation. So it's sort of maybe a melee caster hybrid, but it did sound like they went through that there's 2 DPS talent trees and 1 for healing. So that might be more of like a melee caster or more of a ranged caster, because it was a fire one and the frost or arcane one, which just makes it think maybe there's more of like an AoE build and a single target build for your caster damage, and then your healer is just the one-off. It's a cool way to introduce a new race and class, because it's also sectioned off to not interfere with the current class paradigm of balancing. Yeah, not only has dungeons, but also dragons. True. There are ducks. Yeah. Is there a picture of the ducks? You may have been AFK with the baby. There's no picture of the ducks. At least not in the cinematic shots here. And there, I have no idea how I can... They show ducks off in this section, I want to say. When they had the 4 squad on. The first one with the UI team. It's going to be... Just scanning at 5-second intervals is not going to be enough unless I get lucky and land on the ducks. There they are. Ducks. Owned. We got there. Owned. There they are. Ducks in World of Warcraft. There you go. The meme has become a dream. And that dream is now a reality. There you go. Yeah. That's pretty funny. Ducks. Yep. There we go. Let me freeze frame on that. Ducks. There you go. Guessing it's 2 specs, but just different routes down the talent tree you can go. That could be also true. It could be like it because it's called what? Was it destruction and preservation? So destruction magic could just have, depending on if you go more left side or right side of the tree or something. Yeah. But then destruction will have one main tree, but then it'll have like the left or right. It looks like these are kind of, there's a lot of like basic core stuff down the middle, but then it's very specific on right or left. Because if you look at the druid tree anyway, for restoration, usually the main synergy has been guardian to have the guardian stuff, like the resilience and the tankiness, but then way on left is obviously cat stuff, and way on right is clearly boomkin stuff. Although it does look like typhoon and monsoon or whatever are separated potentially, or this is just a passive to increase radius or something. But Star Surge is right here, right? Potentially, because again the boxied ones look like spells, circles are passives, and the arrowed ones are essentially the current talents where you select one and lock it in. But yeah, a little more balanced druid on this side, a little more feral druid on this side. So potentially for other, if you're a feral druid, right, you'll go more like middle left potentially. And if you're a guardian druid, you might also go middle left. Because I wonder if the druid points are the same for all. And then the restoration is what changes if you go between feral, guardian, or balance or restoration. Very much could be what it is. Yeah, see this one, it shows you right here that it's a selection before you unlock it. So the right and the left is 2 different pictures. Like this is a Tree of Life and something else on this side. The image is cut in half so you can choose one or the other, which is what you do now. Flourish is down here. What is Flourish with on the talent trees currently? You know, it might have the same exact options. Flourish and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So, single most important thing to take away from this expansion reveal, you can finally make a turducken or turducken in Azeroth. Oh my gosh, make it a cooking recipe, you cowards. A turducken. You can make a turducken. So the crafting stuff, this looked cool at first glance when they were talking about it on the opening segment, but if you can see here in the corner, there's clearly quality of ingredients, and they're doing like a bronze, silver, gold quality, and then I guess they have a diamond quality. That's risky, man. There's Final Fantasy XIV did this, and hopefully they get the feedback from this in the beta cycle. Is one of the things that actually got patched out of Final Fantasy XIV, because they had qualityed ingredients that were just normal quality, high quality. And obviously high quality you got less of as you were gathering, so less of them permeated the marketplace, but then you basically, the market didn't care about low quality mats. They were dead. No one would ever use them. You always care about high quality. So what they did in the last expansion, going from Shadowbringers to Endwalker, is they just removed mat quality from gathering specifically. Now when you gather, you just get more of them. There are ways to randomly get high quality materials, and they help you out in crafting, kind of, but they're nowhere near as important as they used to be. this, because clearly it looks like we have a 5-tier, because we're at diamond quality now. We have, you know, bronze quality here, silver, gold, diamond, and then, I don't know, ember, legendary quality, whatever. Right here, it's a lot of granularity between multiple tiers of crafting, which, if it's gear based, you'll only ever care about the highest quality, which is something you can definitely strive for. There's a positive there. But if it's also material based, it can cause a lot of issue if stuff is so rare that it's frustrating and annoying to craft. Granted, if you are a crafter and you want to be a crafter, shout out to Div if he's hanging out in the chat right now, who has been doing so much crafting in Final Fantasy XIV, like hours and hours of it every day. It can be something you really spend a lot of time in if you really enjoy it. It's great. It's just, this makes me weary that this is essentially war forging and titan forging of both crafting materials, and the outcome clearly is determined linearly by your materials you put in. There's some optional reagent here. I imagine you have your own passives if you are a crafter. This is still kind of like what Star Wars Galaxies used to do. I remember sitting around in Mos Eisley Spaceport crafting people's like med kits and stuff, and combat medicines and combat drugs or whatever the hell back in Galaxies. But I would be traded stuff. I would craft them and give them back to them. You know, that's kind of that. It does increase the community orientedness of it potentially, but it also can create a dearth of, I don't care about anything besides, you know, tier 5 materials if they go that high, and then of course tier 5 end resulted stuff, so that all your other crap on the way up is crap. Like there's no point. And what that just means is that it makes it very grindy. So yeah, so what about health potions? Might be one area where the lower quality are used, like you use basic potions for farm, save the higher qualities for prog. Well, that still means you would only care about, potentially, if the difference is not enough, you care about garbage quality potions, and then top quality potions, and then tier 2, 3, and 4 are just dead, right? So why even have 2, 3, and 4? Which is what 14 did. It was just high quality and normal quality. There's still high quality, normal quality in the game right now. There are DPS potions. They're called tinctures in FF. And the difference in high quality and normal quality is 2% stats. 2%. So it's 8% of a main stat buff with the low quality and 10%. But all we ever buy for raiding Savage, Extremes, Ultimates, whatever, all you buy is the 10% ones. You don't buy the 8%. Granted, they also don't get posted very often because there's no point. You only want high quality potion, because why would you just not want 2% more stats? And you buy them in giant stacks of 99, and they'll last you weeks. So this is a tentative from me right now. This is the part. This is a weird Titan forging and war forging materials can be good, but it also can be really annoying. But I also went back on what I said earlier. If they remove certain parts of the game's awkward grindiness and keeping you logged in for things, optional community MMO-ish systems like this could be where they replace them. Because yes, Mia, there are ducks. Here are your ducks for you. There are your ducks. Quack. So many of the systems in my preamble before the reveal started was that World of Warcraft has all these systems that just keep you playing month after month. Drip feeding you loot, drip feeding you upgrades, keeping you logging back in on Tuesdays. They keep you as an MAU. And there's good parts of that if the systems are at least rewarding for the player so you want to play more. Or nickel and dimes you for your time and gets really obnoxious. And that's what the game has definitely felt like lately. I mean, I stopped playing before the new raid came out, but it was another tier of upgrading your legendaries and more Torghast runs and another daily zone, which apparently isn't as bad, but it's still just, you know, it's the plight of a video game where developers are just trying to make you do the same thing over and over again without realizing that you're doing the same thing over and over again, right? That's just part of playing a video game. Look at, you can distill many games. I'm doing the same thing over and over again, but at least it's fun. So, but there's nothing on here anywhere of artifact power or an AP system. Also, this logo looks way better than the leaked one. So leaks are whatever, but this looks way better. This Dragonflight logo looks so much better than the stuff that was leaked. I mean, it's neat. It's new World of Warcraft stuff. I don't know if it's enough to sway a bunch of people in at least my corner of the internet that were definitely enjoying and playing it, but it just got to the point where a lot of it came down to, it was just loot taxing, man. You do all your Mythic Plus for the week, you clear your raid for the week, you log it on Tuesday, you get nothing. You clear your raid, you get nothing. Fun interactive gameplay. I've given you a portion of my weekly sub. It doesn't break down that way, but you know what I mean, like your time for it, and you get nothing out of it. I mean, if I'm playing with your friends, it's great, but if you don't progress your character, which is so much of how World of Warcraft is all about power. It's all power grind. It's all so much power grind, which again, that's why the profession stuff seems kind of neat, where it's an alternate path for player progression if you really enjoy crafting and gathering. This is still going to be way simpler than it ever is going to be in 14. In 14, when you gather and craft, which you could tune in and watch a live stream when I'm playing 14. We'll be playing 14 this Friday again, right here on the channel. If you want to stop by, all the streams are right here. We hang out for like 3-4 hours, but there are rotations and buffs and procs. It's a full-fledged like in-game system. In this, you hit a rock, right? Right? And then you hit the create button and you're done, right? How many do you craft? Boom. It's so much simpler. It just usually requires so many more materials, but then I say that and the new set of armor, Destora and Div's already done it. Thadrin's working on it right now, where the new set of armor in 14 takes hundreds of materials across the board. Just so much stuff because you're making a whole new set of armor. But it's a whole rotational thing, and it's not how WoW crafting is. So if this is one way they can like inject something more into that system, that seems fine if you're into that whole thing. Yeah. Best idea would probably be to give each profession a way of adding sockets to some pieces of gear, like tailors made for cloth gloves. Socketing was cool back in the day. I said before, socketing should be a controlled, crafted thing, not random. We'll see. It's funny how beta content creators hyped the crap out of Torghast. In the end, it became this. The problem with Torghast was that it became so much, and it changed a lot. I have an old Torghast video on my channel right here, where it was during beta, and it was definitely different than what it turned into, for sure. The problem with Torghast is we thought it wouldn't be so required for the weekly currency grind, or that you wouldn't have to do so much of it, because it eventually became very samey and very repetitive. And I guess it's gotten a little better now. There's a new Boss Rush mode, Boss Rush, that I've seen at least James do on stream. Seems pretty fun. But yeah, it became way more mandatory. And I liked it when it was harder, when it was more difficult at start, and then they nerfed the crap out of it to be quite easy, and it just becomes boring. Your first floor was hard, you know, a little bit. Don't pull everything. You get like 7 or 8 powers, then you mass pull everything and you get all down and move on. Right? It became no strategy, no risk reward. It barely became something that was difficult. So, but I was a Mythic Raid player, so at least that's where my experience in the game primarily lays, right? So, or lands, or is curated in. So I imagine it's different for different people, but they've nerfed the crap out of it. That's for sure. Still why you love Warlords of Draenor. Could log in, hop on for raid, log off for a week. Yeah. But you still pay as much sub as anyone who plays 24/7. Yeah. I think Blizzard burned any faith or interest you have in them and their products years ago. No matter if this looks good, is good, I'm not coming back. Well, you don't pre-order. The long and short of a new expansion, especially in the current state of World of Warcraft, is you don't pre-order. You can, absorb some more content that comes out during the beta testing cycle. I'll see if I can get coverage for you guys here and there, but it's not going to be my main priority, just because I've given half my life to World of Warcraft, and if a bunch of my friends and community members want to play, we'll see if we have a small group maybe wants to do dungeons and stuff, do the initial launch experience. That's normally pretty fun. We'll see, but a lot of it is, if it's still the same loot style system and it still takes you weeks, if not months, to feel like you really progress your character, then that's just not what I'm looking for. Because that's just I'd rather play other games, play Warhammer, play Final Fantasy, play other. There's so many games out now. The real estate for the competitive nature for your time real estate with all these games is so rough now. There are so many games competing for your dollar and your time. And it's tough if WoW is still like, yeah, it'll take you 6 months or 6 weeks to learn flying when the new zone comes out after a year. Like, if it's the same kind of old stuff like that, it's going to just blah. The game can look beautiful as illustrated by these screenshots. It looks great. Environmental team always crushing it. But again, if it's still personal loot, if it's still weird trade restrictions, if it's still Great Vault stuff and all these things you have to do to unlock the gear, which, play the game to get the gear, I get it, but still, how many weeks of the whole box of disappointment is still a thing. I see James's tweets. I see James tweet. He posts his pictures of his Great Vault. Mutton is sending me a message real quick here. Got some preliminary art coming out, looks like. Let's see. Blizzard has real concept art for the upcoming Primalist raid tier set for all 13 classes. So tier sets are moving forward. Let me just open these images real quick. I mean, art is cool. Tier sets, dragony, elementally, crystally. It's just concept art. It's neat and all, but I can't give me my tab. So obviously, like, a different difficulty is a different color. That's cool. But the last armor sets were pretty disappointing. The tier sets that everyone was hoping for were going to be so good. And then the fan concept was so much better. Like concept art is great. I mean, the artists that work on World of Warcraft are some of the best in the entire industry. There's no denying that. They are absolutely phenomenal, the work they do. It's normally always, it just comes down to systems. Like, this could be mythic because of like different crunchiness or whatever. I don't know. It always comes down to systems. It's always systems. How you engage with the game. This talent system revamp is going to really be something that players are going to like. For sure. I'll whatever. It's neat. So many of the things are just going to be passives. What I was going to button hook back on the talent system thing is, I was bringing it before in my Shadowlands. Why don't all those weird hidden passives that are obscured from players just a talent if they ever redid the talent system? So I wonder if that's where all these things are going to be. Right? A lot of those weird passives, is that weird haste bonus for Feral Druids right here or right here. The one weird one that isn't communicated to the player at all, and you don't know about it unless you know about it, kind of thing, and it's just part of the math. Which part of you can say, why do I care if it's there or not? But also, that's a part of your character's power growth. Why don't you know about it? People flip their collective shit for, 1% crit! That's the meme. Because some of the talents back in the old day, and you can look at the ones that are in Classic WoW and Burning Crusade, and soon to be in Wrath to some degree. 5 talent points for 5% crit. Oh my god. Incredible RPG character growth. Yes, it gives you some power, but what does that really do? Make number go big sometime more often. Yay. Right? So, but really, that's just the defining factor of WoW has always been talent tree. So I wonder if this is going to be some bridging of the gap, where obviously the mop style current ones are here and here and here, you know, these arrowed ones. And then all those, you know, the what if this is 3% crit right here or 6% crit? Sure. So you can appease both audiences. Give the passives in there that people like, those, that granular RPG D&D style character sheet progression, and keep the big selection point ones. You know, is this decurse? You have to talent into decurse? So what if you just skip decurse? I can see that. I can't imagine that's actually decurse. But yo, Philip, why you aren't decursing? I didn't spec into that one, Dave. I don't like it. Ruins my experience. I don't want to decurse. Like, what the hell? You know? It could be. I don't know. It's just a decursed little icon. It's also the disenchant icon. So what if it's, you know, totally something different? Who knows? But it's always just how you interact with the game. What's funny, new patch for Final Fantasy 14 came out, and yeah, he's talking about 14 again. It's just where I'm comparing the two games, right? Because there was definitely some 14 stuff in here. The new profession revamp, definitely a little bit 14 inspired. They didn't talk anything about like min eye level backwards compatibility stuff, but that is kind of what's happening in the next season, because they're bringing forward old dungeons, at least to the new story. So what if they're going to have that as like a different thing when they do with seasonal stuff, right? But there's comparative points that they have to notice, because they're on the back foot now. World of Warcraft is by number volume way lower in player base than 14 now. But it's the one thing you start realizing when you play 14. A, you can either love or hate the story, because it's the core of the game, which is so different than World of Warcraft. Very different. But it's getting rewarded for your time. Crafted gear matters. It's a huge stepping stone. And every single week you raid in that game, you are progressing your character. Every single week. It's just part of how the game works. There is no kill 12 bosses, get nothing in Final Fantasy 14. It doesn't happen. It can't happen. Every boss you kill, you get the tome and 4 pieces of loot or 5 pieces of loot, or like 2 pieces and 3 upgrade materials drop every boss for 8 people. So it's very high probability you get something off of each boss as well. So that's the biggest thing that connects people, is player progression, character progression. And in World of Warcraft, it takes so damn long sometimes. Clearly, that's where my passion in this connection point is. It's if it takes you 2 months to feel like your character is finally Biss, that's a really long time, man. And that's not even counting how many hours you put in leading up to that 2-month window. That 8 weeks of doing, what is it now? Is it 7 or 8 Mythic Plus max level keys? Like, it's like 20s now. It's a lot if you care about progressing your character's gear. And then you get those 3 doors, you get to pick one thing, and what if it's still bad? There is a catch-all coming soon where you can turn in stuff for better currencies or for the new tier 2nd version, but that wasn't in at launch. So it still sucks for months when you're doing it right now, right? It keeps you playing. But I've played so much Final Fantasy XIV because I wanted to. Because I wanted to work on the side quest stories. I wanted to work on my professions. I wanted to work on getting some stupid TV mount. It's Willy Wonka. You're shrunk in a little TV thing. Again, you can see me flying around in it on stream all the time. I wanted to do these optional things because I knew I could get them. And that's the biggest separation point. I've played more of the game with deterministic rewards. I played a lot of World of Warcraft, but man, you go week after week after week of nothing, it starts to really drain on you. And not even weeks now, it's been years. Years of it. Slow drip feed keeps you active, keeps you playing, keeps you that monthly active user, keeps you subscribed. It's like a really, really, really high-class mobile game. And that's the biggest thing I wonder if they're going to figure out in Dragonflight. I think rewarding your players for the time they put in, regardless of how much time that is, should be a big thing and a big part of the game. You should want players to play for a few weeks, maybe every patch, and not for months between every single one of them as you drip feed them rewards. But we'll see. That's the biggest thing for me. That's the biggest thing for me. Obviously, there's a huge problem with Activision Blizzard right now, and if you want to support Bobby Kotick, that's why I unsubscribed. I don't want that to go to him and his cronies and stuff. There's a petition, or there's a stance coming out now with investors about not, or voting against the Microsoft purchase, because they don't want the executive to be rewarded for what's happened at this company for the past, I don't know, 15 years. And if you don't want to support that, that's totally within your right. If you want to play WoW, you can play WoW. If you don't have to. It's totally up to you. So, yeah. Let's see if they change combat or bar bloat. You talk about I mean, I don't think they've really got to change that. I mean, you might have less abilities depending on how you, but this is like a default UI update for the new UI anyway. On I love the mini map and the bag stuff. This is gorgeous. Let me make a bigger. Let me open this in a new tab. Like, this is actually, it's gonna get a little pixelated, but this is great. It's really nice. I mean, obviously they're gonna do more iteration on it, of course, but this is the default bar for, I don't know what level we are here. We're level 60, it looks like. Yeah, 60. I mean, obviously you've got like some, this is your guys for Mrs. Dragonflight probably, and this is a Hearthstone in your mount. So you've only got a bar and 70% of another bar full of abilities, right? So there you go. That's WoW's difference in combat, though. WoW stuff is a lot of just hit buttons and procs. It doesn't have the same regimented stuff as 14. That's a totally other topic, by the way. Good lord. How Final Fantasy 14 combat is both harder and easier than World of Warcraft. It's slower, kind of, but also you can totally fuck up your rotation so bad in that game. You really can't in WoW. Very different. It's action combat versus MMO combat. But I love this. Nice, and look at these new little buttons and icons. It's really good. This is, I guess, this is the new map targeting thing. There's like a little map thing up here. Your calendar. That looks great. There was a screenshot during the or an image during the trailer. It's way back here. I'm not gonna be able to find it. I doubt it. But you can see like the quest interface. And the quest interface looked really nice. Just really clean UI update. I mean, it's gonna be like a huge compendium of screenshots, probably by MMO Champion or Wowhead or something. Yeah, this is basically the same one we just had from the website, so nothing there. This is only 5-second clips. Yeah, it's down here when you move everything around. I guess that's not the UI. That's the same thing by the map. So not the quest log. I thought that was the quest log at first, but yeah, same kind of thing. I'm sure you could probably turn on your health and your actual text if you want those on there, but this is a very common way that you position stuff in World of Warcraft now with your left and right targeting frames. So, but I mean, I don't know, button bloat, whatever. There's only so many spells in World of Warcraft, and it depends on if this how this system works in translating how many spells you have compared to now. You know? I don't know. That's been at least a lot of talking about, reacting to, and just discussing the new World of Warcraft Dragonflight. That's that. I think it's that for the recorded section. I think we'll ramble a bit more on stream for a bit, but that's that. So if you've been hanging out today, appreciate it. Hitting the like button or the subscribe button. Both helpful buttons. Cost you nothing but a little bit of time. And it lets the algorithm know that you enjoyed hanging out today. Chit-chatting about the next WoW expansion, 10.0. Looking at almost 20 years of World of Warcraft soon. My goodness. All right, I'm going to stop the recording there, which is fine. Well, you can be Horde or Alliance when you're, even though you can still cross-play. Remember, there's the cross-faction play comes in the next patch, but you can choose your allegiance, Horde or Alliance, because you're neutral to start off with. Yeah. Ducks are geese with less hate. It's always duckish just before the dawn. Oh, man. Bad jokes. Bad jokes. Bad jokes. If I don't see a duck called the ubiquitous waddler, the Horde now have worms on bars instead of griffins. Oh, the UI stuff? Maybe? Well, it wouldn't be worms. It would be griffins and... These are griffins, like, for Alliance. Wouldn't it be like a, Did we see that somewhere? Maybe it was in the UI section. They were showing off the art on people's computers. It was, like, right here. Yeah, it's a wyvern. It's a griffin and a wyvern. For a Horde. Yeah. Not yeah, wyverns, yeah. I think I said worms. I read too fast. Just reading through chat. Yeah. You're all good, Umbra. Yeah, wyverns. Or wyverns? Wyvern, wyverns. Look at the levels. The neutral Panda to max. The starter zone is going to have a new... Yeah, they're going to have another neutral... Yeah, exactly. But that's that. I mean, the website's up. You can check what they have right now. Obviously, it's only so much being released, but that's still cool. It's weird and unfortunate that in the age of data mining, everything gets kind of spoiled in a weird way. It's so many of these things were kind of accurate. There was obviously some stuff that was good or bad. No release date and no start date for Season 4. That still really, to me, feels like Season 4 starts late summer and lasts for probably a year. We get Wrath of the Lich King Classic November, December, that winter release. I said at the start, there's no way they're going to put all this work into Season 4. All these new dungeons and stuff without this lasting for at least 8 months or so. Because this is a lot to bring up 2 dungeons, bring up the last 4 for the mega dungeons to work, and make a new affix, and work on getting the last, all the raids updated to a new season with new loot. It could be just eye level, which is fine, but Mastery season thing for Classic for TBC, they could, the season of the Mastery. I don't know. I don't know how that really works, but let's watch the trailer again one more time here on the way out, because we're almost at about 3 hours or so, and I want to get... I don't know if I'm gonna edit that video down at all. That was quite a long hour 44. I'll timestamp it. I'll timestamp the chunks. Let me just save this real quick. WoW expansion reveal. Dragonflight. This is on 4/19/22. Yeah, because that's just really my candid responses to everything, and then there'll be I'll just timestamp the back end of it, because not everyone's gonna watch the full length of the whole stream today, which is fine. But I appreciate you all coming out and hanging out today. There was definitely more people watching today than normally, but I mean, I've been streaming. There's lots of streams archived right here. If you're subscribed, you see them, just if you want to watch 14 content or not. But there's been Destiny content. We did Mega Man for a while. Still going to go back and jump into more Mega Man in the future. Elden Ring. People keep asking me when I'm going to play Elden Ring. There's going to be a playthrough of Elden Ring. It's only going to be on stream chunks in 3 to 4 hour blocks. It's going to take a while to chew through that 100-hour game, but we'll start it because we finished Witcher 3 finally. 7 years later, we finished Witcher 3. So my last few end streams of that was like 4 or 5 days in a row at Witcher 3 to finish Blood and Wine. So much. So that's done. So we can start up another big RPG. So that'll be Elden Ring. But let's crank up this trailer one more time. Make sure we're on the max. It's only 1080p 30. Let's some people may have missed it when it happened earlier, but let's go.
The world has been sundered. It cries out in pain. We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you.
So I assume this is tier then. I don't want to pause, but the first thing I noticed, because this one is the only one that looks different.
The Watchers.
Or maybe not.
Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land. Then you must light the beacon of Tyrhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
I love this time jump. That's so cool. That's really good.
is healing. But her fate is yet uncertain. Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Yeah, not even a date. It's just learn more. Not even a date. I mean, it's spring 2023. It's a year away. I can't imagine. I can't imagine because John Haidt said alpha starting soon. Well, he said starting. So if you imagine factoring in alpha and beta time 6 months, and it's already basically May. If that starts by the summer, that still means that it would be a launch after the turn of the year. So, which is fine. It's fine. I mean, the beta cycles for World of Warcraft, we've seen if they're too short, there's problems. BFA's beta cycle was like barely 4 months or something, whereas we've seen Legion was 7 months. So, yeah, the longer the better for sure. Only 19,000 views so far? That can't be right. Wow, really? You'd think there'd be a whole lot more... watches in the first hour after release. Interesting. I'll have to see how the views go, because that's definitely going to be a little bit of a litmus for people's overall interest in World of Warcraft at this current juncture in time. There are plenty of amazingly creative people that work on Blizzard games. It's just really unfortunate the entire situation happening right now with within the company, within the Activision Blizzard section, a little more specifically. But very cool. The reveal stream itself had 29,000. Well, there's YouTube and Twitch, right? Was it on both platforms? So, and pray return to the Dragon Isles. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it. I think it's lunchtime. Thank you all for tuning in and hanging out today. Again, if you liked hanging out today and enjoyed my just ad-libbed takes during the stream, the like button costs you nothing. Just a moment of your time if you enjoyed. As well as just if you want to come hang out. As all my content is on here now. We're going to have been putting out stuff now for the last few months. Lots of streams. I try to keep them only around that 3 to 4 hour mark so they're not awfully undigestible, and then try to cut down more smaller chunks. Like obviously I'm playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14, and like I said, we finished Witcher. We played a bunch of Destiny because the new expansion came out for Destiny. That was awesome. So there'll be a mix of all those things. We'll see if World of Warcraft makes it back into that mix in some way, shape, or form. I'm not entirely sure it'll be right now, but this is where all the stuff is. What's for lunch? I don't actually know, Gorek. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. I don't know. Well, that's it for me. Again, my name's been Bay. Thank you all for hanging out today. There's going to be 2 videos coming out. I'm going to start posting the 6.1 MSQ stuff. I've got some raid videos to also edit down a little bit. We did the new Unreal trial the other day for our first time, so I'm putting a first time clear of that with a bunch of wipe garbage in there too. And we did our first extreme trial for the end of the MSQ of Endwalker. That's also going to go up. So, but the next live stream will be on Friday. Normally streams are Mondays and Fridays right now, with videos intermixed between, or I do like a Thursday, Friday, or we do like a Monday, Tuesday stream, stuff like today. So that's at least the current schedule as I keep working on stuff in the back end and checking things out and working on things. But I'm going to go have some lunch, hang out with people in Discord, because I'm sure they're talking about it. But that's it. Yeah, have a great night. Have a great morning. Whoever comes first. I'll see you soon.